Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of the iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
I'm starting off fresh, and I feel good. I look good. I smells good. I am good.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dude.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday to all my friends and TGIF to you all. Welcome to Have No Sphere right here, Iron Realm Media podcast channel. That's right. The days are counting down. It shan't be much longer. Maybe. Until we're at least able to stream live to the Iron Realm Media main channel. Whether we're willing, that's a different matter. But let's jump right in and say hello to everybody, starting off with, we're going to mix it up. We're going to start with Mr. Walter Johnson, because I'm so excited that he was able to play his guitar and talk at the same time, and we could hear everything happening all at once with great sound levels. How exciting is that? Walter Johnson, Flat Earth Head there on YouTube. That's awesome.
If I could find the mute button, there it is. Yes, that is quite awesome. I don't know what changed. I don't know. I didn't change any settings, so who knows? I may riff or two later at the end of the thing and stuff. Get us kicked off here before we get off to the other one.
Yeah, I didn't change anything.
Anyway, yeah, Good Friday. Who knows, dude? They change stuff on this app every other minute, it feels like. So, but yeah, I can say hey to people, I guess. Wait. Move the game controller out of my. Hi, how are you all?
Hey.
It's good here.
Oh, that
It's
background
good.
is
It's good
awesome, dude.
Oh, I know, right?
How did you do
It
that?
is.
What,
I'm just good.
I know. You put it
Right, I know Donnie. Well, Donnie's my friend.
Y'all gonna make me have to go break up
right.
this shit.
Yeah. You have to get some magnets and
Just
have a black fridge and yeah.
had some wedding
See the
cake.
cat here on my refrigerator. Good God, I just noticed that. Anyway, but yeah, shout out to the man himself, Flat Earth Farms, Daryl Davis. I saw that in my pictures. Like, oh, what? That'll be a perfect background. Nice. Yes, sir. We are all the best people are. Really, Travis.
Yeah, my shit's just not in
All the
here with
best
me.
people are. Yep, Good Friday. got a slight nap in. It's going to rain and storm here at some point this evening, and we're being told. And I do see it getting really dark kind of early. So if I do suddenly disappear, it was most likely electricity related. Hopefully it won't get that way, but they are saying it's supposed to be pretty stormy. So we'll see what happens. But I'm here now, and that's what's cool. And there's other cool people here, so why don't I shut up? You heard me rambling a lot this morning and other mornings and many mornings. By the way, happy Corporation Formation Day yet again.
Yeah, since he seems to be otherwise occupied, we're going to say hello to Mrs. Cami Knodel. You might recognize her from her channel, Aisling717, here on the YouTubes. Cami, how are you doing, my dear?
Hey, good to be here. We're having a good, what did you call it, Incorporated Day? Also known as Happy
Corporation
Birthday, Zack.
Formation Day. Yeah.
Incorporation and Formation, we'll call it creation. The beauty of creation. Nope. Having to get all happy birthday. It is dark and gloomy here. It is, the sun has not come out once all day
Wow,
at
all the way over
3:30.
there too, huh? So they've really got the whole like southern, southeastern, all of it done.
Midwest. It's been dark and gloomy here all day too.
Yep, where we go into, I think we go officially into a flood watch in 6 minutes, but maybe they changed it because it's not supposed to start raining until 9. So
it rains blood where you guys live?
Something like that. But yeah, we're supposed to rain all night long and then go into thunderstorms tomorrow. But yep. But it's been a good happy birthday though. We've been watching movies and something called Ted Lasso and just
yes. Yes. Yes.
You like the Ted Lasso? Yeah, we're liking the Ted Lasso.
Look, I was talked into watching it against my better judgment because I don't do sports balls. It's not about sports ball.
No, it's a fun show. Most of the sports shows like that really are. So yeah, it's a cute one. We're really enjoying it, or at least I am. And I think we should talk to the birthday boy.
That's a good idea. Let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. He's got a channel here on YouTube's Good Times for All. It is his Corporation Formation Day. Zach, happy birthday, be Earth Day, all that good stuff. Glad you're here with us. How in the world has your day been, sir?
Oh, well, thank you, everybody, for all the wishes and all that good stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's been a great day. Had to go next door and finish up a little job I was doing. And the job took me like 20 minutes, maybe half hour to just finish up. It was just touching up a little bit here and there, painting. And then like 45 minutes of her deciding where pictures were going to go on the wall. Yeah. And she kept asking me, well, where do you think they should go? It's like, you can ask Cami. It's like pulling teeth asking me my opinion about home decor. I don't care.
It's true. It's true. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Tell me where you want it.
To go, I'll put it up.
That's the right place. I'll put it up.
I'll drill holes. I'll put in, I'll do all that kind of stuff. Anything.
And I'm not even like,
and
I'm not awful when you move, say, redo it again, but just don't ask me where it goes. Yeah. Or does it look good?
Yeah, no, I'll move it 10 times.
I don't care.
Yeah. Wherever you want it to go, I'll put it there. But yeah, just don't ask me where, please.
He doesn't get it, no help whatsoever. I told him, you should have told her, at my house, I don't know, but I always know at other people's houses where everything should go. I do. It's like I can look at other people's houses and say, oh my God, you got this all wrong. We have in the past, and this is deranged and wrong, but we have gone and stayed at bed and breakfasts and things where we've just like, feng shui the room a little bit or made it where it really has like so much better. Not really. Usually we buy a little something, because we are moving some stuff around, and we haven't had people complain about it. But yeah, I've rearranged furniture and it's looked better. When we did the one in Canada and changed the big unit, he was like, "You guys are right. No, don't move," because he came in as we were getting ready to move. We took like those seating pit areas and moved those floors. That was fun. That was a fun project. We had a lot of people doing it with them. We kind of took snapshots and we're going to set that one back. But overall, I asked the people and they haven't wanted it back before. It's just playing with it. You want it back? No.
So what's that guy's name? So now you know.
What guy's name?
So now you know.
So, Dear Modern. Dear Modern is the YouTube channel for the little, you have,
Interior decorating, how to design a house and decorate and all that kind of stuff.
so it works and he'll say, what do you do? Like you have a 10 foot by 10 foot bedroom and have to sleep 3 people or whatever, or, have a man. No. This go here, just go there. And now you know. So glad. No,
Yeah,
you
that's
never
a
want your
sad
sheep
life.
to. Now you know. He has the stuff that you can't, like, be facing the bathroom, else you'll flush your, stuff down and, all of that stuff going in, or, you have to move it offset from the door. So energy flow is good, but you need to know these things. And if you watch Dear Modern, you will, now you know.
I'll have to go now. Hey, before we get too far from the birthday wishes, real quick, I see in chat, happy chocolate birthday to you, Sherry Ives. Yesterday was your chocolate day. So happy chocolate day to you.
Happy birthday, belated. Shit, yeah. The chocolate queen. So we are joined tonight by a guest.
Infamous?
We all know.
I apologize that I can't look at you guys because you're up here on my screen so that I'm sharing it with my audience, but then you're over here on my thing, so this is where the camera is. I'll try to look over here at you guys. So, hello. What's going on, guys?
Travis
Yeah. Back there. That's a big throwback right there.
We got that. How loud is your horn in your car?
In the car that I'm driving now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the basic,
You need to do that thing. I mean, you can't end it just because you don't have the big blowhorn, the trucker blowhorn.
I'll have to try to remember that. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
It's not about the size of the horn, Travis.
I gotcha.
Travis, can I sponsor an air horn? Can we get an Iron Realm Media air horn sponsorship? Can I buy you a small compressor with some air horns and we'll get you a horn?
That bitch. Oh my God.
If you find someone to hook it up, it's just the.
As long as I get some alternating.
Oh, you want like tones and stuff?
Might as well go all out.
Well, that's lots of horns. I guess
I'm a horny guy.
It all plays digitally these days.
Good. Dixie.
I don't know if I can do that. I like it this way. So
be inclusive, man. Inclusive.
You can't even say the words way down yonder.
Yeah, I don't know how well Dixie would go over up north with all the Yankees.
Yeah, but anymore that kind of that generation that's familiar with that narrative,
Yeah.
Even with the millennials today, they wouldn't have any idea about what.
The Duke boys.
Yeah.
At that time, the Duke boys is over in Cooter County getting in trouble with balls out.
Cute.
Oh, look, there's Brian in chat saying if you get him there, he'll hook it up for you. I'm dead serious. You can get small little 12-volt compressors, just like a little kit, an air horn kit that installs right under your hood.
Are you talking in the chat? Is it Brian CB?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can meet up with him easy. But
you use Amazon?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Josh is plotting.
I am plotting. Once I get all these decals cut, I'll send him some decals too. You can slap some decals on the horn.
I might, depending on where I'm going to be. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I just was going to tell you locally at our wall store that don't pay me enough to say their name right is a lot of that stuff on clearance right now, like boxes of stuff, like cut out stickery stuff, t-shirt iron-on transfery stuff, and it's all that cricket related thing. That's what you got, right? Cricket.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Oh, and they're all
locally and see if that's happening like across. Maybe they're getting rid of that in their stores. I don't know. It could just be space.
So
in
they're
our
templates
stores
for you to
maybe,
use yourself.
But I don't really know enough about. I just saw like hanging skinny boxes and big flat boxes, and it was all. I saw like transfer, iron on, sticker. I saw all kind of stuff here. So if it's priceable enough to get and send to you, I can do that if it's nothing going on in your area. But sometimes when that happens, it's happening in all of them. You know what I mean? Or at least here it does. Like stuff here go on in the electronics will suddenly hit the clearance aisle, and that'll be happening in all their stores. 50, 60 mile radius. So I don't know. It could be happening there. Make our own damn shirts.
But what I was going to say was but because there it is, right? That's the hesitation. But in the Wanderlust on my way to Dallas to watch the eclipse, I could very easily come your way and just pick it up. You wouldn't have to mail it.
Oh, that'd be good. Of course, it'd be a lot less easy for Brian to hook it up, but.
Oh, well, that's true. But then,
bring it home with you.
I got a buddy in Texas. He probably could help me out with that.
I imagine I could find somebody here that can hook up a 12-volt air compressor, little bullshit thing like that.
That's hilarious.
I want it loud. I want them to know.
Yeah, real deep.
What if you can get like those police multi-tone type sounds?
Right.
Operate on those weird frequencies. Send a shiver down your spine.
Did you put it like underneath the back of the car somewhere? Like, facing a weird direction?
Uh-huh.
Learn how to like throw it.
I don't know if
throw in its voice.
I don't know if it's really going to throw it so much. Maybe on the highway some, but not really a whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going to be real loud at the people behind you.
Say we get a brown sound generator and mount it in some tailgaters that just will not turn their fucking bright lights off.
We'll just get them a full frequency generator, get some acoustic levitation going. We can just bypass all the traffic.
Right? Fucking hey.
That'd be awesome. Bed knobs and broomsticks style.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Bread knobs.
I know the movie, but I don't know the reference in the movie.
It means
just floating away.
Bed knobs and broomsticks meets Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh man, I love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That movie is a top tier movie for me. I love it so much. P-O-S-H.
I don't remember all that well. I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it all that many times.
I'm really curious as to
all I wanted as a kid was that car. I wanted that car in the world.
I don't know if you remember Walt or anyone else. Do you know what Chitty's license plate says?
Yeah, but I can't think of it offhand. If I really dig deep past these burnt cells, what is it again?
It's an enigmatic reference, but it's GEN11. So it's Genesis 11 or Genesis 11, which is the Tower of Babel. But it's just interesting that, there's this, I don't know, whether or not because Ian Fleming is the author of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
So, there's got to be something encoded in that. I haven't thought to look it up. Maybe I should ask ChatGPT what if she can dig up, some archived interview where Ian tells us what Genesis or what GEN, but it would probably be just a spin on it, right? He wouldn't really tell us what it was.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging around right now just to see if there's any theories or whatever out there right now.
But I did a little search.
Get your own.
I did a little search earlier on what the meaning of Chat GPT was, and the P stands for pre-programmed. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And I don't know if you've messed with it, anybody yet, but it's really interesting to I think about this sometimes and then I forget to put two chats against each other and ask them the same question and see what answer gets generated. But just like we say, there's nothing free. So if you have this pharmaceutical offer that's free, right? You're the experiment, right? That's why they're giving it to you for free, because they're going to get their payback when you come in sick, having an effect based on what they gave you, right?
Righto.
So it's the same concept.
Real quick, hold on to your hat there, Travis. What if those aren't numbers? What if those are referencing the letter I?
Forrest Gump style.
Or Gen style. GENII is the Latin word for a magical being or person. It's
Really?
the thing
Genie.
I'm reading here.
It's a genie.
That's what it. Chitty was registered in the UK with the number plate Gen 11, right? But given to her by Ian Fleming, wrote the novel the film is based on. The registration spells the Latin word GENII, genie, whatever. That's crazy.
Wow, nice.
It was running.
Apparently, it was a Ford. I just saw it go by. Damn it,
Josh, why did you reference Forrest?
What was his
Jenny?
his lady love?
Jenny. Okay. Right.
A Ford Heritage at heart, apparently, whatever that is. It weighed 2 tons. It was 17 feet long. Anyway, V6 engine. All right, that's enough shitty stuff.
Apparently, it didn't smell very good and went bang. Twice.
Ba-rum-bum. Ba-rum-bum. Speaking of bumps, one of my midlife crises in the past month, I started writing. Somebody's got an open mic with a lot of noise. Yeah, there it was. Thanks. Midlife crises. Oh, so I've always had these ideas for jokes in my mind, and when they come back up around, I'm like, I should really write this down. So a couple of weeks ago, I started to try and write a set. Like if I could ever find an open mic place and have this tight set written, I'm trying to write comedy. And I've got some pretty good ideas, but I'd have to nip and tuck on there. I'm just curious, have you guys ever thought about like doing stand-up? Because it's interesting to me, especially George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Lenny Bruce. These guys that were standing up and speaking as satirists against culture. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's like. A comedian is a troubadour, so to speak, right? And so he's got a message, and that's his medium. It's humor to disarm, but then the truth is, in that humor. But I just think of it as a really interesting medium. That if I could, because that there are comedians out there, you've seen it, I'm sure, that they do these stand-ups and they're like, they've got this flat Earth bit, because of the topic right now, and I've seen a couple of them, and they're just horrible. They're like low-grade ballers that are just laughing at the idea. But they have the platform to make fun of it. So if we could turn it around and make fun of them in that comedic setting, but at the same time bait them in with, a crafty way of drawing them into the criticism, and then find out that it's they who are being criticized. But anyway, if you guys have any machinations of bits in your mind, throw them my way and we'll see if we can make it work, because I would really love to give stand-up a try as a bucket list.
Well, if the Earth were flat, the cats would have pushed everything off the edge by now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And what's funny about that is that if I did open or say something like that, yeah, like if I did that as my opener, first thing out of my mouth, everybody would just fucking laugh right away. And in my mind, that's what you have to have as your hook. Like if you don't have them laughing on your first bit, forget about it. You got to get them laughing.
Flat Earthers have members all over the globe.
See, there you go. We're laughing, man. Zach's laughing. I'm laughing. Exactly, dude. Right? It's that easy. That's how easy it is. You just have the ball. You have to have the balls to stand up. And this is the thing that was an impetus for me too, because I think about when I was still married, there was a holiday when I had to work and everybody went north and I was alone and I just got shit-faced. And at that time, I had never had cannabis. So I was just, drowning in liquor. And I started writing these, or not writing, but I started just monologuing, and recording myself. And I was being as vulgar as I could be in my mind, like just talking about whatever, saying whatever was coming into my head, because it's crazy. I don't know if you know the guy named Jeselnik. I can't remember his first name ever, but Jeselnik is such a dark comedian. He just says the darkest, things, and everybody just laughs and eats it up, And so I, just swinging that pendulum in my mind. Anyway, so I've for the longest time been thinking about comedic stand-up, and then last year came across the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you guys seen that?
Oh yes,
that is an amazing series. Absolutely, I crushed it in like 3 or 4 days. I could not stop watching it. It was absolutely just amazing. And so the whole thing is that the premise is that there's a married couple back in the 30s or 40s. Can't remember how far back it goes, but back in that time it was Lenny Bruce, so it's probably the 50s. Yeah. But so the dream of the husband of this couple, his dream is to be a stand-up comic. And so he would go and do stand-up, and the wife would take notes and whatnot. She would, say what laughed and this, that, and whatever. But he was stealing material from Bob Newhart. So he would just memorize Bob's stuff, get up and just say it, and whatever. So she thought that he was a brilliant comedian. But then she accidentally heard Bob Newhart's version, or on television. She's like, "Wait, how? Bob stole your bit. Bob's doing you." He's like, "No. I did him. Like everybody does it." So he blew it off. Like he's not writing his own material, right? But she had been taking all of these notes. She's got this thick notepad, right? So in her mind, she's already primed herself to be what he, the husband, had aspired to be, because she has the notebook and she is not necessarily, she's witty, already you can see that in the background of the other aspects of the scenes. Anyway, so he bombs one night and then says to her, "I've been having an affair, I'm leaving you." So then she grabs the bottle of wine and starts walking around New York and just slugs it down. And she goes back to his comedy store or comedy bar. And she just wanders up onto the stage, and then she just turns around and the spotlight is on her, and she just starts riffing, and she is just brilliant. It's amazing. But that's what it was. She was just a life situation comic, right? She would just talk about her life. And that's what you and I do. We sit around, we talk about our lives, and then we laugh at those situations, right? I just think that's the brilliance of how simple comedy is, in a sense.
Well, that whole idea of taking, trauma and turning it into comedy is like one of the keys to me of some of the best people out there. Like I like Jeselnik, or however you said the name. I never knew how to actually say it correctly, I guess. He definitely is dark. Stanhope, dude, Doug Stanhope, yes, no?
I don't think
Go
I've heard
down that
one.
rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah?
Go enjoy Doug Stanhope. You want a dark, funny, that makes me piss laugh, and just talks about some really dark sides of life. Yeah, Doug Stanhope, he had a whole tour of dark, broken comedians he took on tour. It was pretty crazy to watch that little documentary about that. But yeah, that idea of just turning the pain into comedy, it works for
because what's interesting for me too is the conversations that I have as an Uber driver with my riders. We have natural comedic interactions that just happen. You know what I mean? So the conversations that I have with them, I want to always be recording, because I would go back and find out which thing worked in the conversation that was lighthearted or poignant and all, because it's just You know, like I just wish that there was this possibility of doing a Truman Show thing for myself, right? I can go off on some things, but anyway, so the comedy thing. I can't remember where I was going with that now. And this is going to happen a lot because I'm going to forget what I was saying. So just be prepared.
So I've always been a bit of a smart ass. I used, even as a child, my parents would tell me, you know, you got to think before you speak. You can't just, nobody likes a smart aleck. You know, don't be smart. And that was always a big thing. And then I realized quickly that if I didn't say it, it offered me a lot of time to refine in my brain that which I would have said. So by the time I got to school and was like kind of class clownish, I had timing and my brain was able to knew how I wanted to say things. So
right.
I was spitting out shit that even my classmates wouldn't laugh at, but my teachers would roll. And that's how I basically got through most of high school, was being able to make my teachers laugh with more advanced humor. There was a little show called Seinfeld. And when I was a kid, when it first came out, I was like, oh my God, this show is the fucking amazing. This dude is hilarious. This is the funniest shit I've ever seen. I've got to be a stand-up comic when I grow up because goddamn, I'm funny. He's funny. I can be funny like him. Not a problem.
Yeah.
And then by the third season hit and everybody else is like, oh my God, have you seen Seinfeld? I'm like, yeah, it sucks. All you dumb bastards. You ruined it. Even today, I can't get more.
What do you mean? What do you mean after the third season you were like, I don't understand why it got ruined for you?
It got too popular. Josh is just like me. If she get too popular, I back away from it for a while.
Oh man, I'm not that fickle, but whatever.
Well, even now, if you watch TV shows, what was that Canadian show with Pitter Patter, Let's Get At Her? What was fuck? Why can't I remember the name of that show?
No, I'm trying now too. Fuck.
Anyway, you get shows that come out very organically and be like, oh my God, this show is awesome. And then people like it. So then
and they start pushing.
Production companies just start throwing money at it. Like, oh my God, okay, so all the actresses need to start getting Botox. I don't care what you weigh, you all need to lose no less than 20 pounds. So everybody gets rail thin, but make sure your head looks real big so that we can call you a dum-dum to your face because you look like a silly little sucker.
Letterkenny.
That's what it was.
Well, originally the fucking show was going to be him, like it was going to be his stand-up life. It was going to be half about his home life and half about shit on the road and him in the comedy clubs and on stage and shit. If you go back and watch the first episode, Elaine wasn't even in it. They had this waitress character who was going to be the female lead or whatever that was very grating character and didn't work out and they got rid of her and Elaine showed up and George was totally not his later grading self and all that stuff. So like it morphed, like you say, into a whole different sitcom-y thing, but it started out being directly inspired by his stand-up. And I mean, I know people give him a lot of shit because his show got so huge, but that dude, like,
defined comedy,
redefined comedy into a thing, dude. Yeah, like his daily life was getting up and working at this as a job. He saw these fucking dudes going off doing like daily, cleaning streets and shit. It's like, if they could do that kind of dedication to their shitty job, I'm doing a job I like. I should be able to dedicate it like that too. And he turned it into that where he wrote and practiced and refined and then threw all that shit out, threw it all out and went back into the comedy clubs and started over with fresh, dying on the stage nightly with bad material till he could refine it again. Yeah, go watch some of his documentary things. It's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah.
You start putting focus groups in there and big producer money and it just turns to shit. Like Letterkenny wasn't a YouTube show. It's like a YouTube channel. The guys say, hey, let's just write some funny skits and we'll all get some friends together and we'll act out these funny skits. Hence Letterkenny was born. Then they start throwing money at it, and then they try real hard because the main character, he was still the writer and it tried to keep that same vibe, but they were just throwing money at it, and it just changed, and it just ruins it. And I think Seinfeld was a little bit of the same way with too, but I've always been sort of contrarian in that way, that I'll like it as long as nobody else knows about it. but I'm not going to stand around the cooler and join in with the whole group of people talking about how cool it is. I'll be on to the next cool thing that they're going to find out in 6 months.
Wayne's World. That's what that whole movie's about. You know, it's like corporate gets a hold of it, and all of a sudden it just turns to shit.
Mm-hmm.
I've still never seen Wayne's World.
He was so cute at the time.
You know, that this is another part of the amalgamation of everything that's in the insanity of whatever I am. You know, I've created at least 5 different podcasts, and you know, one of them that I would like to do is reactions to movies that I haven't watched, or you know, I might watch over again because of the analyzing it in terms of seeing what might be deeper in the meanings of the movies that are out there. And I just like, I see the the channels that I watch, and they're really large channels, and right now at this point, their production level is just off the charts. And one of the channels, he's able to hire somebody to start to do the editing for him now, right? He's at that level. I mean, these guys are making bank, and my dark passenger is no one's going to watch your show, man. You're going to do this. You're going to spend time doing, watching this and that and the other. And so then there's that, it's just that doubt, and, but at the same time, I still have that ambition. So I'm trying to push more forward into the ambition, right? Because, all of the spiritual gurus say, your greatest treasure is lying in the back of that cave that you refuse to go into, and that's like you go into the cave and it starts to get dark and you're like, oh shit, I can't see. And then you back out of the cave. And then it's like 6 months later and you're like, I should go back in the cave. You know what I mean? But it's like this for me, like this to me is an interesting dialogue to where people would hear somebody who's, like there's a really good philosophical spiritual comedian called Pete Holmes. Have you guys seen him?
I don't think so. Dude, he's like, I got turned on to him watching the Doug Benson Experience. He would show up on there like every other week and just sit in their basement and get baked and talk about stuff like comedy and shit. If you've never checked out the Doug Benson,
I don't know who that is.
Getting Doug with High.
Getting Doug with High?
Didn't he do Super High?
I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. I don't even know. I think he probably did that whole thing where he'll do like 5 or 10 minutes on YouTube now and then send you to a real channel that you can actually watch shit on.
And what's his name?
They started. But Doug Benson, he did that thing Super High Me.
That's what I thought.
Josh, that is correct.
You said Super High Me?
Like, yeah, he went 30 days without smoking. 30 days with no smoking, did all these tests, like intelligence, health, talked to doctors, he did a psychic fucking test. He did all this stuff after 30 days of being straight. And then he smoked all day, every day for 30 days. And did all the same, like edibles, everything. From the time he woke up to the time he went to bed, and did all the same tests again, and usually did better in all of them, including got lucky on the fucking psychic test.
Oh, yeah?
It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's really funny. And so he started doing a little thing on his channel where he would sit in a basement area and get people to come over. He's had Jack Black. He's had Pete Holmes on a lot. He goes down there a lot, and they just sit and get baked for an hour or two, and it's great. Now, that was back 3 or 4 years ago. Like I said, now I think it's kind of like, hey, here we are. Come see us on the real channel, wherever it's at. But yeah, definitely love me some Pete Holmes.
And he's deeply philosophical and spiritual. Like he has this really interesting, gentle appeal to the audience. Like he'll lower his voice and I can't even do it. It's very soft, but he's like, it just draws you in. And then he's talking about God, and he's talking about reality, and he's talking about, and it's just, wow, but it's just so simple because I've had those conversations just naturally, and it's got to get to the point to where it's almost like, you've almost got, I'm just going to say it this way. Like if I was a rock band or whatever, like we got to do bubblegum pop to get everybody to love us, and then we're going to go and switch it and go back to prog rock. You know what I mean? Like, because if we go prog rock, no one's going to listen to us because they don't like it. But if we start off poppy, then we can switch, kind of, right? You know what I mean? So, like, I would have to be, just stupid funny to get that audience to follow me. Because if I started, like tonight, if I just went out to some open mic place and started being who I was, I don't think I would be that great with the audience. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, I'm not really sure what his vibe is. Like, where is he coming from? Like, what's he, you know what I mean?
No, it's like a lot of the greats, even like the first time I heard Gilbert Gottfried speak normally, I was like, what the fuck?
That's like Alex Michael, right?
That's Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, exactly. You think Alex Michael's going to come up and sound like this? Hey, how's it, you know? And he comes up and he sounds kind of like John Lennon a little bit, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what a shtick is, isn't it? I mean, if you can live that shtick and keep your private life private and your public face public and keep that real
there's a lot of
contrast.
comedians who went into character and never went out. I mean, fucking Paul Rubens, you know, he got to a point where he could hardly talk without sounding like Pee Wee. But before that, when you saw him non-Pee Wee like, he was a totally, like, he did, totally different people, totally different characters.
Paging Mr.
I just
Urban.
dropped I'm sorry, what?
Nothing, I was being stupid.
Oh,
Paging Mr.
right? Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, man, he's just got that spoiler.
You wouldn't like me,
Daddy. Come on, Daddy.
There's things about me you shouldn't know.
Oh, God. That was so
anyway,
awesome.
I dropped the link in the chat and in the Skype call chat for you there, Travis. It's an actual episode with Pete Holmes that I was talking about there on the Doug Benson thing. And from there, you should be able to find more of the Doug Bensons with guests you would want to see. Like I said, the one with Jack Black broke my brain because their whole shtick, like on the, I don't know if you ever watched the Tenacious D thing that was on HBO. They were great. They were great. Musical and funny and comedy, but they were always getting high. That was their shtick. They were stoner little guitar dudes. And he got on this fucking Doug Benson podcast. And as it began, we realized he had a safe word with his wife, who was off camera, because he apparently doesn't smoke a whole lot. Dude, he got baked to the point where he was acting. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. It was nuts. It was crazy.
You talking about Jack Black got that way?
Imagine. Jack Black, yeah, he got that way. Like, you couldn't even believe how he was acting. Like, just like the most noob, like popcorny, stony dude that's never smoked in his life. It was great.
Yeah.
But doing that comedy thing to the point of, like you said, being able to hide the brilliance in it, like George Carlin did, like Bill Hicks did. I mean, and there's music. I mean, there's like that idea of using the pop, but still hiding things. You know, I mean, that band I don't know if I turned anybody on to it today, but the band I played this morning, had Josh play the 21 Pilots thing. That's one of the things about them. They are very youth and pop and raps in it, and there's all this real aimed at a certain radio-y thing, but when you dig deep, they're talking about demons and fighting the darkness and what goes on when we sleep, and yeah, they're hiding a lot in their pop music.
Yeah, but see, look, that's a bit of my conspiracy theory. This is my own personal, rabbit hole, that when you have artists like your typical Granny Smith and Grandpa Joe, your typical normie, isn't that deep, right? You have to have exposure to particular ideas to even begin to then be poetic about it, right? So in my opinion, this is just me again, like I'm just going to say it this way, and I know I'm probably way off, but it's just, to say it for shock value, like everyone who makes it like 21 Pilots, they were already in the club. They were already in the club. And they know everything. They've been exposed to it. They've been able to practice it. And so it's like they do the lucid dreaming, right? They do all of the things that they're singing about. And we just think, just like in Hollywood, this is just a story that's being sung to us. There's nothing real about it. You know what I mean? But again, that's just me. Like, I don't believe that I could make it in Hollywood. I'm not in the club. I'm not in the club.
I don't think you could do the things you would have to do to get into the club.
Well, what I'm saying though is that, and I think that there's a certain, I'm going to say it this way too, like maybe once in a while they bring in just this plain Jane from Nebraska, there's just cornflake girl. But for the most part, they are the inbred elite. They are Hollywood. You know what I mean? If you think back to even the Bridges, like Bo Bridges had Lloyd Bridges had Bo and Jeff, right? That's a family history in Hollywood, right? That's generational. And so there are other stars now in Hollywood that are probably Jeff Bridges' children. And we just don't know it because they don't have the same last name. Just like Kate Hudson, is Goldie Hawn's daughter.
So
right?
Look how many Sheens are floating around out there.
Think about.
I'm sorry, the Estevezes.
What about Corey's?
That was the stage name.
Corey's and what was it? The Island Boys. So they do bring in the occasional plain Jane, but they also have all these kids that, hey, come to my island and baby, I will make you a star. And every once in a while, by God, they do. They take these kids that they've abused and they will prop them up and put them on the big screen. And here you go, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. By God, they would have been stars. They were stars for their brief flash in the pan career that they had. If they would have learned to handle their abuse and their trauma better, they would have just gone on to rule Hollywood like the people that rule Hollywood now do. That's all they've managed to do, in my opinion, is handle this stress and trauma that's been hoisted upon them or that they have hoisted upon others. And that's what keeps them there in Hollywood. And they just learn to deal with that trauma.
You guys know the boxer Ryan Garcia?
No.
You see what he came out and said? He's young, maybe mid-20s, something like that. Maybe not even that old. I'm not sure how old he is. But he did that Bohemian Grove thing. But he said he's been in this pretty much his whole life. Like, since he was 2, he can remember the trauma starting.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, I get that. I agree with a lot of that. We've seen it. We know it. We do see that. But as you all know, I know you've had those experiences where you're sitting there watching the movie and that thing they say or they do hits you in that right spot and makes those chill bumps, those truth bumps hit, because what was just said is truth. There's no doubt. You know it in your soul. The whole movie's full of other bullshit, propaganda, whatever. Same thing with the music. It's full of bullshit. It's full of evil people. It's full of people who go in their back room and get their evil shit put into the albums. We all know that. But we also know we have discernment and vibrational frequencies that know things. And for me, every band that I got deep into, it was for that reason, that in their lyrics, in their music, in their song, they were saying shit about the real stuff. The endless cycle of reincarnation we're stuck in here, the fucking evil shit that we fight on a daily basis. They talk about it to a point. 2 albums, 3, maybe just 1 great one. And after that, they inevitably have to go back and pay their due to the fucking chief. And then the album comes out and you hate every song on it. It sounds like fucking dribble. You fucking despise it. Alter Bridge had one. It's called The Last Hero. I hate that album. I don't listen to it. It's not in, I don't own it. I didn't buy it. You could tell they were talking about shit about to happen because it got into stuff about what happened during the quarantine and about voting. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And I was mad. Like I was done with that band. And then the next album came out and they were back on their good shit again. They had to pay their due to get the good shit out because these fuckers like to play. They like to gamble. They like to give us enough shit to figure it out because they're doing everything they can to keep us from doing it. And it's part of the energy they suck off of us. It's that whole game that we're trying to figure out. They get that energy too. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll stop.
Well, I mean, what you're saying reminds me of what I've thought about in terms of, Hollywood. Again, Hollywood is just spell casting, reality, meta narrative, just, disinformation, propaganda, and then reality and truth, But where was I going? Doggone it. Darn you, Mary Jane.
She's a fixed mistress.
What did you say? Because like maybe go back and I was gonna say something very funny. Not funny, but whatever.
Or
yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now.
No, I don't know. Trat.
Say it again, Walt. What were you just talking about?
Well, just about the artists who do their truths and do their reveals until they can't do it anymore, and then they have to do the bullshit. Yeah, they have to pay the toll. They have to suck the beast, whatever you want to call it.
Re-education.
And that album comes out, and you hate it. You don't buy it. You hate the video. You hate all the things about it. And hopefully, the next album comes out and it's better. I mean, even 21 Pilots had an era where I wasn't into them. I was just talking about that in chat.
Oh, I remember what it was. I remember what it was now. So in this discussion, when we talk about the dark powers and then we the ignorant people, so to speak, it made me think of the correlation of the Force, right? Because I think we all here would acknowledge the reality of the ether, the Force, the energy, right? We live in an energetic, dynamic system, right? So there is energy, right, out there. So then how are you going to use that energy? Are you going to cast spells that mislead and deceive for your good, right? That is a Sith, right? And then, or are you going to use the Force for good? And so when you have this, dynamic, because like when I've talked to my mom about, the corruption of the government, and she says, "Okay, I can see it over here, but it can't be everywhere," or whatever. The reason why she says that is because she wouldn't do that kind of wicked thing, right? That's the way. That's a person's default. Like they wouldn't believe that the government would do that because I wouldn't do that, But that then shows the sanity of us and the insanity of them because they would do that. And so then you have the dark side and you have the Jedi and you have the Sith in reality. How do you use the Force? Right? Because your energy affects other people. Your words affect other people. Your thoughts affect other people. Right? I mean, that the Force is real. Right?
Oh, yeah. The power is there. It just depends on where you vibrate in it.
And so what I'm trying to suggest as well is that I think that the powers that be actually are able to do these things that they show us in the movie, like telekinesis and all this shit, right? Like they know how to access that stuff. And then they show us that it's real, but we don't believe that it's real. I mean, it's just, I think of the cartoon from, was it DreamWorks? I think it was DreamWorks. And the Truth Drop movie was called Onward, right? It's all about myth and sorcery having gone on the wayside. And they show you this scene, and I loved it because I was the only one who laughed in the theater because I was the only one that got what they were saying. But it was a brilliant scene where you have this sorcerer, this master, who can conjure fire with his hand, right? And he's trying to teach his apprentice to do it. And the guy's going, and it's just going, And then you hear this cheering behind you or whatever, and then the camera pans to the back, and there's a scientist engineer who flips a switch and turns a light on in the room, and everybody's like, oh! And then the sorcerer's apprentice leaves the sorcerer and goes to the easy way, right? So then he leaves the old path, but the old path is there. Magic is real. I mean,
absolutely.
But so what I'm saying is that when you have an artist who then tells a story like Wrapped Around Your Fucking Finger, which is an amazing song, but it is deeply esoteric and it is more than he should have known about. Sting or Andy Summers or whoever allegedly wrote the song, right? I don't even think that most of those songs were written by the artists. They were given these songs.
Under the Silver Lake, right?
Yeah, I was trying to remember the name of it.
Was that a movie?
Yeah, remember that scene?
Yeah.
I know you've seen it because I know you were here when we showed it, where it shows the guy that lives on the cliffside, like
Oh
castle,
yeah.
and he's got Hendrix's guitar and Kurt Cobain's guitar and all these.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, and then he's like, and I wrote this, and he starts playing Bach's like fifth.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
right.
It makes you start
maybe
wondering.
You know what, Zach? You just decoded that. So like that's probably where I got the idea to say that. You know, I understood what was happening. They're showing us like, you know, the scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Indiana Jones goes, "They have no idea what they've got," you know, and they're wheeling the ark into this just cavernous, and just this endless eternity of history that they're telling you, we are hiding these things from you. And we think, oh, that was a great movie. And you're just like, you missed the point at the end, you know? So I'm watching that movie and I'm like, oh, I get what they're saying. You know, I get that joke. You know, anyway, so my point is that I think that a lot of the messages that come to us in these songs, either those people are so deep, you know, because you like, you know, otherwise you're just blowing smoke. You know, if somebody, I don't know, I guess you could write a song about love if you've never been in love. I suppose that's possible. But someone who's actually been in love can actually write it with, you know, just, you know, full on passion and zeal and zest and color, you know. So I'm just really skeptical about that whole facade of everything that's out there, you know, especially when you see that. I'm sorry, just real quick, especially when you see, you know, the alleged reference to all of the presidents being related and all going back to royalty. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking weird. Like, you don't, like, they don't tell you that. And like, you don't learn that in public school.
No.
Well, of course you don't.
From the mouth of babes, a 12-year-old figured all that out, that all the presidents, it was already kind of in question how many, but she went back and found the actual lineage of, I mean, Obama, all of them, everybody except for Trump, apparently, is not related to that bloodline.
Yeah, but even what does that mean? Like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, he's in a different.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if that's what all the hubbub is about? Like the internal fighting? Like,
sure.
Think about it as like Harry Potter world. It's us muggles. We don't even know that there's that world there, and it's all about this bloodline switching over, and they can't have it.
Oh, that's a perfect example. Okay, whatever. I'll take a kick to both shins with pointy boots for saying this. I do not believe J.K. Rowling wrote a word of that series, unless she's deeply like you know. The original British title of the series is the Philosopher's Stone. It wasn't the Sorcerer's Stone. It was the Philosopher's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knows about that? Nobody knows about that. I didn't know about that before. Like, I didn't even know. Like, when I saw
some of the names in the book are actual real alchemists. Nicholas Flamel was a real person.
Yeah,
he was like alchemist royale of his time.
Right. So think about this. As far as I know, J.K. Rowling was just a mom. She knows all that shit? No way. No way. Like, if you think about the Deathly Hallows, right? That's an esoteric symbol. The circle, the triangle, that's all deeply esoteric. Like, nobody knows about that shit.
Unless you do a deep dive, unless you fall down some rabbit holes, which I think she did prior. I think when you were researching for a book specifically, I think you'll go down some rabbit holes and you'll take notes of some shit.
Yeah, I did that too, Josh. And I have to say that same thing. I think it is that person did do the research. They were just as curious as we are. And so instead of them going, oh shit, let's do a podcast, they went, oh shit, let me write a book because I have some ways with words and put this shit in there and that'll be a way to get it out there.
I know, but that's just the sweet spot. I'm saying, like, and maybe this is part of my dark shadow work that I've got to work through, is that I'm a quitter. Okay, I'm a quitter. You know, I started Red Hen Radio, busted my ass trying to get interviews, and got you guys on there with Walt and Josh, but then I just lost my motivation, and then I just stopped, you know. But I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great concept. But where's I going with this again? In terms of being
are you diagnosed ADHD, Trav?
No, I've never been diagnosed.
Yeah, we're in that age group that we didn't get diagnosed.
Yeah. But I'm a quitter. Like that's what I was saying. Like I'm creative. Like I am creative, you know. And I've tried to write. So I have this idea in my head. I'm like, that's a really good idea. Tippity tappity, tippity tappity. Like, oh man, this is boring. And then I stop. But it's a brilliant idea. Like I have all of these different things that I've started. I even have a screenplay that's like halfway written. And I think it's a pretty good idea to it. But anyway.
Man, this sounds so familiar. I mean, can't quite put my finger on it, but there's some real familiarity there. I don't know. What it is.
I know you're being facetious.
I am quite facetious because I do it. I've got millions of good ideas. I'm a great idea guy, but my follow through is shit.
I know, right?
Like
I think I've had 4 or 5 years. I've been sitting on a flat Earth tabletop game that I think is absolutely brilliant. I have it all mapped out. I just, and I've said a few things to a few people because like I'm trying to facilitate. You know what I mean? Like I've got the idea. I just need to find the executioner, right? The one that can carry out my idea, because I don't want to build this board. I don't want to build these pieces. I don't want to do that. But I've got a great idea, but I'm not going to do the work for it, right? And so then I'm coming across these spiritual channels like Dan Coe. And again, I'm skeptical about him as well, because I think that, these guys that you're talking about, oh, you can make millions of dollars or blah, 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 whatever. Like he was already wealthy. You know what I mean? And then you get this story from him. There's no way I'm going to confirm his story. I have no way of knowing that he started out like where I'm at right now, like at the bottom of the barrel, and now he's a multimillionaire who just gives now pithy spiritual business models, even though they're true, right? All of like the stuff that he puts out there is spot on. Like, yeah, I even commented, I'm like, you just nailed me, like because that was exactly. It was something about that, like procrastination or giving up and quitting. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I've got this treasure that I'm like, I want that. And then the treasure's like, help, I'm in this dark cave. You've got to come in. I'm like, I'm not going in there. And so like that's that kind of humor where Walt just laughed. That's the kind of thing that's what I would go for in comedy, because I actually have an opener written along those lines where I'm trying to I'm what's the word? It's when you're deprecation, like when you just I'm not talking about like talking down about myself, but just revealing a bit about myself along the same vein. Like you hear of all of these stories about people who just never quit. They just kept at it. People like J.K. Rowling. Like there were so many publishers that just rejected her, but she just kept it up. And then look at the success that she has, and then I would pick a few people out that are like that. And people are like, yeah, I remember hearing that story that he started out from nothing and he just kept going and kept going. And then the punchline is that the buildup is that you think that I'm going to start telling you about how I've done that. But that's not me. Like I start out in that direction and then I just go, okay, what's over here? Because it's just too hard. It's too long. It's too far away. Right. I don't want to put the work in. But then that's the whole model that you see on these gurus who are talking to you about being a success. Like you have to make this happen. Like that's what manifestation is. Manifestation isn't magic, right? Look at my hat. Dream is destiny, right? Dream is destiny. If you haven't watched the docu-movie, I call it a docu-movie because there's nothing but truth in the entire movie. And it's set as a dreamscape, right? But it's deeply philosophical, deeply spiritual, and absolutely brilliant. I've seen it probably 200 times. I listen to it while I go to sleep sometimes. And it's just, I love it. It's absolutely amazing, okay? But the idea, and this is where the movie starts out. The movie starts out with a destiny flower. You used to play the pick a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? And so he gets to the very end and she flips it over and the message is dream is destiny. That's at the beginning of the movie. So the question is, what does that mean? Why did the creator, the writer-director, who has written Dazed and Confused, School of Rock, the Before trilogy, Boyhood, Richard Linklater is just deeply profound. I mean, if he's the guy who wrote it all, but he's deeply profound. But anyway, Waking Life is an amazing movie. You need to watch this movie. And if you find something, at least one thing in it, then I've succeeded. Like, I don't expect you to watch it 200 times like I have, but I just eat it up because I hear truth and I'm like, I don't understand that. I need to watch this again and again and again. And even today I did it.
Are you talking about the Dream is Destiny movie or Waking Life? Which one are you?
No. Dream is Destiny is the first message in Waking Life. Okay, so Waking Life starts.
Because he's got a documentary I watched. That's what it's called, Dream is Destiny, because that's such an important thing to him. And it's basically just about him.
Ooh.
Which if you haven't seen that, go watch it. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I'm surprised that hasn't
I caught that one on one of the streamer. It was like one of those weird streamers where I had to watch commercials, one of those that you have to see it's free, but you watch commercials. It was one of those, and I caught it and then it went away because I wanted to watch it again. I'm pretty sure that was the name of it. And when I saw that, when I realized what you had said, it was like, oh yeah, Linklater. Yeah, Dream is Destiny, 2016, documentary about his life and work. And dude, the whole thing he did with boys, that shit is mad. I mean, that's beyond art.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Waking Life, that shit is amazing. Fucking, that's one of my go-tos. I probably had watched it on DVD probably at least 50 times before I stopped having DVD players hooked up.
But anyway, so my point about manifesting your dream, right? So I had a friend that I used to know who would, if you asked him, hey, TJ, how's it going or whatever, he would always say, I'm living the dream. I'm living the dream. And so when I started, processing all of this spirituality, you have to, in order to live the dream, you have to dream the life, right? So you have this idea in your head, this is what I want. And then you make it happen. You make it happen. That's manifestation, right? It's not just manifesting it like poof and then magic like that. That's not what the idea is. But, manifestation. So Dream is Destiny. And I said, when you watch this movie, if you do, that's the very first message. So the question is, what is he trying to say to us? What does that mean? Dream is destiny. And man, I've had some fascinating conversations about alternate universes and reality and dreams with my writers based on watching this movie and over again, because on the one hand, it's very simple in this life that your dream, whatever you imagine your life is, that's the life you're going to live. So if you find yourself in the situation, like just stop right now and think about where you are, what your job is or whatever. If that's where you are, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Oh, I don't like this. So get up and go and get out. Yeah, but I just know then you want to stay here. That's simple. Wherever you find yourself in life, you've made that path you are still walking on, but you're creating that reality. It's rendering as you're walking. As you take each step, you render that reality. You are just simply satisfied with where you're at. Oh, no, I'm not. I want, then what is it? What's your dream? Then go make it happen. Yeah, well, it's too hard. And that's me. I'm like, yeah, well, it's too hard. But then there's other things that I bust my ass on, like with this photography stuff, right? I kill myself for that. But at the same time, I'm discouraged in that field because I can't get any headway in the mainstream. And the one opportunity that I did have got T-boned by a troll who got my article taken off a major university's website on refraction that I was asked to write by the webmaster.
I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV. But if I were in this situation and I needed to focus, I would consider some low-dose amphetamine. I can't believe you've not been diagnosed as ADHD.
Well, like you said, back in the 80s, like There was not that impetus, I don't think, in society at that time. So by the time I was out of school, whatever deed was done.
It was starting to creep in, but it's especially because you weren't diagnosed as a child, and as much of it as apparently is having an effect on your adult life. I'm surprised it hasn't been at least suggested in between.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. We know whether or not certain conditions that we see today are representations of what's natural in reality. Like if you think about pre-injection ideas, let's even say 200 years ago, were people ADHD back then, or is it the result of the toxicity that we've been exposed to with the Industrial Revolution and the medical revolution?
I'm just absolutely convinced that's what it is.
Yeah,
all the shit too. That is safe,
fluoride,
right? The shit that's safe, the fluoride, the botulism bullshit, all the shit that they can consider safe now will in 70 years be like, oh damn, I can't believe we did that. Oh damn, I can't believe we used to use thalidomide for morning sickness. Shit. But at the time, fuck them doctors was writing thalidomide scripts like it was cool, causing all sorts of birth defects. Babies coming out looking all sorts of jank. And I'm convinced whether it's the oil, all of the oil-based products, whether it's just the heavy metals or combination of the two, or whether it's like this multi-pronged attack where individually they do some damage, especially over a long time. But when they're all together, it just compounds in such a way that it just gets out of control. And because we don't know what the fuck we're doing, we can't differentiate as people what is being sold to us. And we can't wrap our brains around the fact that they don't give a shit that it's not safe, that most of what we hear is marketing. They tell us what we want to hear, so we will buy their shit. You want to hear it's safe? Yeah, sure, it's safe. Take all you want. It'll be fine. Safe, right? Feel good? Feel happy? Open your wallet. Safe. It's fine. Whatever. We don't fucking know. 70 years, are you going to know my name?
Get a lawyer in 20 years. You'll be fine.
Right. Like the cops. They've got fucking... We'll just go pay people to go to Washington, D.C. We'll reform all of tort law to protect the doctors, and you all can go fuck yourself. Have a nice day. Have some more thalidomide.
Well, I mean, compile that with that marketing, with, since fucking being kids sat down in front of Saturday morning cartoons to choosing to watch MTV to let's turn on a radio. Wait, I can play guitar and do that too. Oh, wait, let's go outside and fucking roller skate and let's go fucking to the concert. Let's go out to the mall. Let's go play video game. Let's have a video game in my house. Let's do that. Yeah, I can't imagine why we're all fucking ADHD. Squirrel.
Everywhere. Signs everywhere. Signs. I heard that today.
The Tesla version?
No, the original.
So funny that all of the covers that happened in the 80s that I thought were original, like I Think We're Alone Now and Signs and whatnot, even with artists. So in the 80s, I grew up as a teenager. I was 10 in 82, and so for the rest of the decade. So when Steve Winwood came out, when Peter Gabriel came out, like I thought they were new artists. I had no clue.
I did too at first.
And I'm not embarrassed, but I'm a little bit chagrined to say this, but it was about 2019, and I realized for the first time that Peter Gabriel was the original lead for Genesis. No idea. No clue. Because I didn't listen to prog rock that way. I didn't hardly know any of Genesis as prog rock. I knew Yes, and some of ELP and whatnot. But yeah, I always think that's so funny that these pop songs that come back around are basically covers.
No, and they're still doing it. You should have heard. I forget. Jaron and his buddy. We were playing Fortnite, and he kept saying, "Oh, did you hear that new Disturbed song?"
Oh, Sounds of Silence.
Yeah, and I was like, "No, but that's an old song. That song is older than me." And he just couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah. It'll never stop. People are going to always be redoing songs from the past.
Well, it's always, think about, okay, you ready? Travis, here's one you may not know. You may, I don't know. You're pretty musically savvy. The original version of Tainted Love.
I know that it exists. I've heard it, but I can't. Was it? Wait, hold on. Is it the Shondells?
Almost. It's that style of music. Yeah. What was her name? I'm trying to remember her name now.
Yeah, I can hear it in my head, but yeah. But I love Tainted Love. That's an amazing song. I love the rendition.
Gloria Jones.
Gloria Jones.
That's who it was.
How about Black Magic Woman?
Before Preps.
Yeah. I mean, I remember coming across the fact that these were covers. Yeah, so I knew that one was.
Santana did not write Black Magic Woman. He didn't even write the guitar solo. Like, he played the guitar solo pretty much note for note, like the original guitarist.
So it wasn't an improvisation?
Yeah, not even really at all. I mean, he did it well, made it a lot more popular than it was, but it was an old Fleetwood Mac song from before Stevie Nicks joined the band. Yeah.
Oh, I have one of those albums, but yeah, I really like the early Fleetwood Mac as well. They were a lot more jazzy.
Yeah, a lot more instrumental and jam band style. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Really good musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need a whole lot of words,
Yeah.
Black Betty was a cover.
Say it again, Josh.
Black Betty.
Yeah.
That was a cover song.
Flammable.
Do you know what that song's actually about? Because I always thought, I'm like, I can't believe that this song, like, if you're going to ban Baby It's Cold Outside, why isn't Black Betty? Because I always thought it was massively racist. Like, I love this, but I hate it. I can't believe they're saying this. It's like, how is this song even on the radio anymore? But it's about, do you guys know what it's about? What Black Betty is?
It was like
this.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I want to hear what you think it is.
From what I remember, it had to do with. Fuck, I don't know. It was there.
Already had a child. Wham, blam, damn thing.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think I read it's a reference to an old colonial musket, like this massive rifle, and so then it's this almost like a ballad story about that. It's interesting. I can't remember all the details, but I remember looking it up because I was like, what is this song about? And that was the breakdown of it.
Oh, half the police songs they play on the radio should be banned. If you're going to ban, Baby It's Cold Outside.
I know, right? That's right. Yeah. That's how. Right, exactly. That's how bass-ackwards our society is. How stupid and ignorant. How idiocracies we're idiocratized that we already are. Right. Every time somebody makes a comment about Baby It's Cold Outside or something like that, I always say, haven't you heard of My Sharona? Like, that's a pedophile song. You know that, right? And then the other one is obvious, Fat Bottom Girls. Right? Freddie Mercury singing, before I left my nursery, I was made a man.
Oh, it's been canceled. You can't access that song on if you get that album now, it's not on the album right now. If you get it off iTunes or
the greatest hits was where I grew up listening. It's so funny because when
I had jazz because I wanted that poster of the girl on the fucking bicycle, dude. What? That was early pubescent stuff.
Right. But anyway, I'm like that's how stupid society is. Baby It's Cold Outside. I'm using a knife to cut my my bud. But I never thought about the
Black
lyrics.
Betty, we didn't finish. What's up with that, Josh? I just want to know where.
Get one of these, Trav.
No, I have a grinder.
What did you just say to me, Walter?
Yeah, I've got a grinder.
Yeah.
I want to see where you're going with the Black Betty song.
Yeah, is it wood on the inside too?
Yeah.
Is it like wood pegs? Yeah. You're gonna need them. No, you get one of these. They actually work really, really well. You'll use that instead of that razor blade. The trick?
Is that lead belly?
That is lead belly.
You only fill it in the center.
Or
ring.
is that Ironhead Baker?
There's like a center ring in between all the little nubs, and that's where you put all of your tobacco smoking product.
Tobacco smoking.
And then you just kind of spin and while you're putting it on, and it works way because I have wooden ones too. I've got a bunch of the metal. I actually broke. Nobody
I
believed
need
me
to
for the
correct myself.
longest time.
The teeth on the mechanism on my grinder isn't wood. It's a metal.
Are they just little pegs though, kind of like this one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, no, they don't work nearly as well. Not nearly as well as I think they call them sharp stones. I don't even know what this one is. This one's just called Instagrind. It was nice. It works really well. Don't steer clear of these. Anything with this little knobby thing on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
Mine works.
Car wreck, and your left arm is pretty much useless, and you basically.
There you go. Yeah.
The grinder. I had one for that period of my life, and that's the only time I suffered through one of those horribly made grinders. They are not great.
They just end up breaking. Is the issue.
Yeah, I went through probably 2 or 3 of them because of that very thing. That little wheel pops out, like breaks off. The spinner, the handle of it pops. The little tiny part pops off.
Let me jump onto a different topic, but stuff that we've kind of alluded to before and thought about before. Have you guys seen the series from, I think it's HBO or Max or whatever, Severance? Have you heard about this? It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. So I think I was influenced to ask this question, and I posted it on Facebook. But I said, what if our dream self has no idea about our awake self? And what if our awake self has no idea about our dream self? And then there was something else I said along those lines. But then something I thought back, and I'm like, holy cow, that post is based on what Severance is. So Severance is this development in technological advancement where they can sever your brain and isolate an activity so that you don't have any memory of that activity. So basically, they call them innies and outies. And the outies are the ones who are the real people, like you and me right now in this dream. Like my innie is myself in my dream world. That's me in the dream, in the simulation. Right. So this whole metaphor of this movie is a mixture of this reality. Like this is what happens in our dreams. The real me outside goes to work. And as soon as I pass that threshold of work, the outside me shuts off and has no idea what happens in here. None. That's what happens in our dreams unless we know how to remember and recall. Okay. And now I'm getting worse and worse at that as I grow older, which is why I think it's like they've separated us from this spiritual dimension for us to visit these alternate universes. That's where alternate universes have come from. That's where the alternate realities, augmented realities, the reason why they created those worlds for us is because they understand our dreams.
So this just fucked me up a little bit. Got me thinking about the memories and dreams. And like this alternate version of us. And when it starts to blend and bleed over. And maybe you start to, as you get older, it starts to become sort of thin and you can't really differentiate one from the other. So as you shift from dimensions, you start to realize in this, where everybody around you, you don't make sense anymore. Now you're just this old person that's talking nonsense. You're living in the past. You don't remember anything. Sometimes you're here. Sometimes you're gone. Sometimes you're a dick. Sometimes you're nice. You're suffering from dementia. I know it's spelled differently, but I noticed just this weird shift from the dimensions and the way that these older people and the way their consciousness seems to shift in and out of different dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, that's beyond my pay grade. I understand the concept, which would be an interesting Black Mirror episode, right? But I think that's a brilliant idea. If you're not riffing off of something that you saw and you're just creating that scenario in your mind right now, I really like it as an idea for something that, you know, would make its way into something like Black Mirror. That was really good, really well put. I enjoyed that.
I've never watched Black Mirror.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Everybody says,
"Oh my God, look, dude!
I
Look,
told
look,
you to go watch
okay,
Joan is Awful.
No, not Joan is Awful. Not yet.
Times.
Yeah. Joan is Awful.
Yeah, I told him I thought he was caught up, and I mentioned it 100 times because it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, Joan is Awful is amazing. But the one that I would encourage you to start out with is not the first one. I can't remember. I think it's the second season, but it's either one or two. But it's called Hang the DJ. Just amazing. If we can come back around to it later on, because I want to go back to the severance idea, right? So you have this alternate you, right? And that's who we are. You have your conscious you is the one that I'm the conscious me right now. I am speaking, but the dark passenger, my ego, my subconscious, the one who says things to me in my own head that I think is me because I'm the only one here, right? Like, it's not God talking to me. God doesn't say Travis. My thoughts say I. So I am. I am the only I am I know, right? I don't know all of you, right? The only thing I know is myself. And so we live in that world of that dichotomy of the outer me, which is the one talking to you right now, right? So even that right now is happening metaphysically. There's an inner me, and I have no fucking idea how to get into his head. I don't know how to crack his code, right? But he's there, and he says things to me that aren't good. He says things about me that aren't nice. He's a little bit more quiet these days because I'm not married any longer. I said this last night on my rant that I just puked all over and talked about my wanderlust, ambition to go west, young man, once again. But what was I saying?
You were talking about the way that dark passenger can be reinforced by outside influences constantly telling you those negative things.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I exposed about myself, because I'm embarrassed, right? I don't want to say things, but at the same time, that's part of the process that I'm thinking. Like, I feel like exposing myself is the way of healing, right?
Absolutely.
So, and because
admitting it is half, the very first step and one of the hardest ones to do.
Yeah, right.
Once you can admit you have a problem, then, most of it's gravy after that.
Exactly. Hi, my name's Travis.
Have you worked?
I'm an alcoholic.
Have you worked a 12-step, Trav?
No, but I'm familiar with. I wouldn't be able to tell you all the steps, blah blah. But I remember looking into it one time. I have a story actually about visiting an AA meeting. It's pretty humorous. It was recently. I have a buddy of mine who had the same path as I did in terms of our religious faith. We were both very, 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 very heavily involved and invested in biblical studies, and we both left for basically the same reason. So we met up, through the internet. He had a radio program actually that was very successful in that theological arena. But why did I bring up Mike Loomis? What was I talking about? I can't remember what I was talking about.
Not sure.
What did you
I'm
say?
still thinking about what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. So I was talking about, okay,
I know,
again, the marriage thing, right? So, you know, when I was married, I would, on pretty much a daily basis, curse my life. I would walk out the door and say, fuck my life. Fuck this. Just because the marriage that I was in was just insane. Like, look, you know, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth. I get that. Okay? But I'm still a lot of the same person that I was when I was married. And the only reason why the marriage lasted as long was because of the kind of person that I was. You know? So think about this. This blew my mind. I'm segueing right now, so it is what it is. Let's say you're ready to start a relationship, but you know you don't have a relationship, so you're going to try one of these dating apps, right? You get on there, tippity tap, and it gets to the part that it says, "What are you looking for in a partner?" And you're like, that's a good question. You list 3 or 4 characteristics. Okay. Look at those characteristics. You say, yeah, that's who I want my partner to be like. That's what I want my partner to be like. The next question is, did you just describe yourself? Because that's what I found I was doing as I was filling out these relationship dating apps. The person I was saying, this is who I want, was me. I was describing me. Like, I didn't have this pie in the sky idea of like, oh, I want a perfect woman. I want a Barbie doll woman. You know what I mean? Like, I treat you the way I want to be treated. I forgive you. Right? And I know that's the way that I am. And I know that that's healthier than the way she was. And I couldn't understand it. It took me forever to understand, because I don't understand why this relationship's not working, because it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this difficult. You know?
I know knowing what other people know is impossible. The wisest man will never know what it's like to be thick as a brick, right? They just don't know. Usually they've been smart their whole life. They've just understood and got things, and they don't comprehend why some people cannot grasp things that they think are simple concepts. It's a story as old as time. Some people just don't get it. It's like they never will. It's not in their program to get it. I don't understand why.
Right, but
it used to confuse me a lot. And then I just realized, my mom finally told me, because I used to ask that question all the time. I was like, that's an adult. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
dumb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's just stupid. Why would they be doing that?
Right.
They just don't understand. They don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom. And then it finally just dawned on me that some people never get it. It doesn't matter how old they get, how many times they go through things. You know, we're going to try it again the exact same way and see if it comes out a different way. That's just how they do it. Let's not try a different step.
This is the beauty of a 12-step program. And it doesn't have, there's all sorts of different ones out there.
Oh, I got to tell you the story again. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Mine's not important at all.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit. I totally forgot about the AA thing.
I'd much rather hear you.
That's why. Okay, right. So I segued over to Mike Loomis, and then I couldn't remember why I went over to that segue. It was because we were talking about AA. So my buddy Mike is a 9-year. He's in recovery 9 years. So he's got his 9-year chip, and he's a strong spiritual guy. I love him to death. Absolutely, just an amazing guy, right? And so we talk about theology, philosophy, everything, and spirituality. And the one time we were talking about, because we don't go to church anymore, he asked me one time, he says, do you miss going to church? And I'm like, sometimes, yeah. But it was the communal aspect where we were all in one voice singing, because the church does have some amazing music, okay? I'm not going to deny that. And a lot of it was already secular music. and it just was brought into the church musically, and then they wrote lyrics over the top of it. But nonetheless, that is a very powerful adhesive for communal life. You know what I mean? When you were all singing the same songs in unison. And so then you were all part of that story about which you were singing. So that's what I miss most about church. And I said to him, I said, why aren't there like pagan churches that, like the song that I came across the other day is I Am Light. And it's by the artist India Ari, 2 words. But that's the kind of music that we should all be singing. Like my 5-year-old should know the lyrics to I Am Light. I am light. You know, and you just sing that out loud, right? And that's you programming yourself. Okay? That's just like the spirituality of prayer. In Christianity or in any like, well, you know, Western religion that where prayer to God per se is a directive, like that's what you're doing. The only person, okay, I'm just going to say it this way, forgive me for being aggressive. The only one who hears you when you pray, okay, you're talking to yourself. You're talking to God because you are the only I that you know. You are the great I am. Zack, you are the great I am. Walt, Josh, Cami, we are all one. Because when you refer to yourself, you refer to yourself as I. I am. So prayer, even but prayer in Christianity, for me, like, you know, there's a lot of people who talk about the power of prayer, but I think that that's an aspect in which, you know, there's like this, you know, the spiritual world, the spiritual community where they are all about positivity and manifestation and positive thinking, right? They already understand that principle. So there are some people who are more mature, like Zack was just saying, they get it, right? They get it. I didn't get it. Okay. My religious tradition created 2 things within me. It created hopelessness. This is my Christian religion. It created within me hopelessness. And the other one just escaped me. I can't remember. I'll come back to it in a second. But what I mean is that the tradition that I grew up in, humanity is wickedly sinful. Nothing that they can do pleases God. Okay, that's a problem, right? So what's the solution to that problem? So you go through that whole story. So if you want to be better and you can't be better because you're a sinner, that means that there's nothing that you can do. You can't do this. That's what I heard. I can't do this. So whenever I asked God for help, I was asking him to do for me. I would say it this way: please help me do that which I don't want to do, right? I don't want to do what's right now. Please give me the desire. I know that I shouldn't do this thing, right? So then I would say, I can't do it. I need your help. And I'm like, okay, when is it coming? Because I still want to do it. I still want to do it. I still want to do it. Like, what the fuck? Like, how many times do I have to ask you for help? Right? I can't do this. Like, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to go down that dark. I'm going down that dark. I asked you for help and you didn't help me. Right? And I just came to the realization at one time, wait a minute. If you have an alcoholic who's an atheist, and he overcomes his alcoholism, he stays sober, and he doesn't ask God for help. He doesn't ask God for help. He does it himself. to a certain extent. I know that AA, right? You know, the higher power kind of a thing. But,
like I said, you don't get that, and there are no atheists in AA. You're not going to find one of those. There's some, but the percentage is so small of atheists that find actual recovery and sobriety, not just not drinking or not using anymore.
No, that was me. That was me for like a decade. You know, I would stop drinking for 9 months. I stopped drinking for, 16 months this time. And then one time it was like 2 years. But I always went back to it. Not until I had that realization that there was a creator did I have that. I don't know. It's something. It was like a switch in me to where I even quit smoking. Then I was just like, I had a pack of cigarettes. I said, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I get it.
That was it. I just was able to just quit like that. It was just like,
right.
It's weird.
But I would say that was all you though. You had information that came to you, right? That was the catalyst for your change. But you were the one. You were the only one who changed because you're you. You're the person that needs to change. So when you change, who does the changing? You do.
Mm-hmm.
So then I came to that realization. I'm like, fuck, man, I've been able to do again, I wasn't thinking about AA. I know that that's a special case. So when I was thinking about it, like there are just people out there that don't have a faith in God and they change their behavior or they have a successful marriage, right? They're not Christians. They don't love God. I was like, all I wanted to be in the rest of my life from a teenager, I wanted to have children and I wanted to be married. That's what I wanted, right?
But you can't judge an elephant by its ability to fly. Like, a Christian's not going to say, well, an atheist has a successful marriage, even though they don't love God, because in a Christian's mind, you can't have a successful marriage if you don't love God.
I know. Right. Exactly. And that's the broken philosophy of the way that you just described it is exactly why the system doesn't work, because it goes against common sense. It goes against what's intuitive. But my whole point is that even if in Christianity, like if I say, okay, God, like if I needed God's power, like I need the Holy Spirit, right? Because you need the Holy Spirit as a Christian, because you can't even believe in God unless the Spirit changes you. So before you can even believe in God, the Spirit has to flip the switch for you. But when the Spirit flips the switch, right, he does something for you before you even ask, because you won't ask unless he does it for you. That's called prevenient grace, right? The grace that you need to trust in, you can't and don't want to trust in it because your mind is against God by nature. Okay? So then in conversion, because I will not turn to God. I will not turn to God. So God just comes in and cracks my neck the opposite way and says, I want you. I've chosen you. Click, breaks your neck, snaps you around. One theologian that I went to and I worshiped at one time, I went to a conference and he said, in conversion, God rapes your soul. He violates your will. Because by nature, you hate God. And if you're ever going to come to God, he has to change you. But you won't ask for it because you don't want him. So he has to violate your will, make you a believer, and then you believe. But you don't become perfect in that sense to where now you start doing everything right. You still have that problem. But see, that's the most important thing for me right now is I actually want him to do that for me, right? But he won't. You understand what I'm saying? Like he did something for me against my will. He did that for me against my will. Now, in my will, as I say, please help me love my wife, he doesn't do it. He doesn't give me that ability, right? Because I'm pissed off at her again and it's day 3. I know that I should forgive her or I know I should go and apologize or whatever the scenario is. For me, I always was the one of reconciliation because she would never apologize. So guess what? I ended up apologizing for her gaslighting me, right? She would gaslight me into thinking that I was the one who actually committed the fault. And that would always confuse me. I'm like, why? Like, I didn't do that. Did I do that? Like I had times where I went into the bedroom and I was just like, am I going crazy? You know? But whenever I said, God, please help me, I didn't get this ring. And I'm like, I got it. The Holy Spirit, I feel you. You know?
Well, you know that old saying, when you ask God for help me be patient, he'll give you something to be patient about.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, right? Oh no, no,
practice and patience.
I get that. I totally get that. But then that puts still the ability and responsibility on you, right? So even if when I pray, God gives me a, I don't know, spiritually, genetically infused power ball, right? But I don't feel anything, but it's there. Like I've given you my spirit. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I still have to decide to do that thing. So guess who was always responsible for doing it? Me.
So, Travis, question for you. You have, you said a 5-year-old. Is that a little girl?
No, I have 2 grandchildren right now, but no, he's the oldest is 3, but my children are all 17 and older.
Well, this might not work for the grandparent world. It does work for the parent world, but like when your 5-year-old asks you, really want something really bad, they want sugar, they want things and they want it really bad, and that, do you always say yes? Because isn't that kind of how you're treating God is like you have to have the answers of yes and no. So I'm like, well, I think more of God as a creator, as a father, and having that type of that maybe you don't see the answers or the things like that. But
I think I understand what you're saying. So let me try to reiterate what my tradition created within me, right? So I'm going to put this on like my experience, so that I'm not saying that everybody felt this way. I felt like I was being indoctrinated to understand that I can't do anything in and of myself to please God. So that means then I have to ask him for help to do that thing. So it's not necessarily like I'm asking him for a job, right? Like you said, like, let's say, oh God, I want to work for Disney. And so you're saying it's like, like a parent, he's not going to give you everything you want. But I'm not talking about asking for a job at Disney. I'm talking about a moral, ethical thing where God always wants the right thing. Like, I want to love my wife, but I can't do it. And so my tradition was, you have to pray and ask God to give you the strength to love, right? And how do you do that? Well, you read his word and you see examples of love and you say, help me be like Jesus, or help me be forgiving like that person. And you use those stories as allegorical,
when you say you, who do you, so when you mean you, you're saying me though. You're saying I use those.
No. I'm sorry. I'm saying anybody who uses spiritual texts. Like if you go to a spiritual text and you find meaning in it, you know what I mean? Like it could be Mark Twain. You know what I mean? That's just like, you could just have wisdom anywhere. And then if you want to emulate that wisdom.
Yeah. Agreeing with you totally, finding the wisdom anywhere. That's totally agreeable. Yes, right. I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah. But anyway, my whole point was that I've had the ability to be better my entire life. But I didn't understand that. I thought I couldn't do it. And so whenever I was waiting for that thing and it just never came, I lost. That's what I was like, it created within me hopelessness. And I haven't had, and now that I left that narrative of my life and I've started to look at life in a more spiritual way, I have more hope. I'm more expressive of joy and peace and patience and kindness than I have ever been in my life. And I had to
when you were in that growing up, I have to ask, man, you seem to have, been a very hyper aware young child, as most of the people on this call were. You didn't get triggered almost by the bullshit of the people dressing up and playing nice for God on Sunday, and yet you go with your papa on Thursday night to Joe's house because he's beating on his wife, so you go kick a little fucking sense into Joe. My grandfather, who was the Baptist preacher at that same church, regularly went and administered guided philosophy to a lot of fucking assholes around that community. So that, and then he would go home and rage and scream at that same God that he told us all was going to love us on Sunday. He spent the whole week cussing that same God. So I saw a lot of two sides to this coin.
I know. I get that, right? But even as a child, for me, I'm sure that there are other people that are like me. Like there's that would be cognitive dissonance. Like, that there's something wrong, but you don't know how to deal with it, or you don't know how to, or it's maybe an anomaly, right? Everybody else is not that, and then you see an example of that, and you just don't know how to make sense. Like I remember for the first time being exposed to transvestites. It was Annie Lennox in one of the music videos on MTV, and I was confused. I didn't understand what I was seeing because I knew it was a woman.
Rocky Horror Picture Show was like, I was like,
yeah. I didn't get to that till I was 18. Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm talking about when I was prepubescent.
Yeah, it didn't even dawn on me that those were guys. The first one was probably like the movie The Birdcage, and I think I saw that in my early teens, maybe whenever that one came out.
Dude, Bugs Bunny dressed up like a lady. Y'all forget.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Our lives. It wasn't just. It was always being pushed in our face.
Right. So then those are times when we've been disarmed through the medium. You know what I mean? And so I don't know how to answer your question. Like, I don't really think I saw through, Christian facades as a child. I just loved all my adult parents that, I remember as a child. I have fond memories of all of them. They were all great people. Okay. All of them. But
man, there were some amazing people at the same church I'm talking about, but that same thing happened, and I saw it too often to the point that by the time I was like 10 or 11, asking questions they wouldn't answer in Sunday school, and I would get fussed at by my mom later, and it's like, what are we doing here? Isn't this Sunday school? Are we supposed to be asking questions? You tell me to ask questions in school. You say you got my back if I get in trouble there. You're not going to have my back in here just because Papa's the preacher? I mean, I was quite a...
again, that's your story, right? So you've got exposure to it in a way that you were more, aware and cognizant. Like I said, I didn't really pick up on some of that stuff until I was an adult.
Right, I was behind the scenes. That helps seeing all that early, probably.
Yeah. Right. So it's all context, and it's all true. So like what I was trying to say earlier, when I think Cami brought something up, but I'm like, we're all on our own journey. You know what I mean? And so, my children are still pursuing the religious expression that I taught them. I indoctrinated my children into the religious expression that I now criticize. And I have to let that be. I'm not going to go to them and try to tear down their belief system. That's not my job. I would be a monster if I came in there all the time, or if I wanted to talk about how Jesus isn't this and the Bible's not this. Like, I would be a total dick. That's their story. Just like my story is what I have, and Zack's farther along in his story than I am, right? And so when we understand, like, this is the whole thing for me, is like understanding that we're all one. I mean, it's just been, I don't even know how to express this. Sometimes it's so just magical in my mind. It's almost like looking into infinity, and it just blows my mind. And I don't even have words for it. That how simple it is to just love.
If that were the case, would you be needing to beg God for that love for your wife that you want him to give you?
Because in that system, I didn't understand that it was that simple. I didn't understand. That's what I was trying to communicate before. I had been taught a certain mindset that debilitated me. I can't do this. So I have to ask him. Now I'm at the place where I wish I could go back, because I could have done it, because I wanted to do it.
Or maybe you just weren't asking the right thing. I saw it mentioned in chat about praying, using the words "I want" in prayer. And Christianity and the church is how I got sober. I tried AA, I tried NA, and I still highly promote a 12-step program, and that's because addiction makes you retarded, emotionally retarded, psychologically retarded. And the 12-step program is a crash course through that maturation process that you missed out in your retardation. And that's why 12 steps are so fucking painful, because it is a crash course in trying to get you mature in a short amount of time, because you've been in your addiction for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years of addiction where you've been retarded, and now you've got to play catch up. And that's why 12-step programs are so hard.
I mean, look, I don't have any criticism on that. I made a comment last night on my rant about hearing voices, right? So I have never experienced hearing voices audibly. So if there's somebody out there somewhere where you can vouch and like you can't repeat it because it's in the past, so I'm gonna have to take your word for it. But you know, I know that we all have different religious expressions, and the AA experience is what it is, and it has a system, and I'm not knocking the system at all.
I'll knock it for days.
Well, whatever. Okay, so that's fine. I guess I maybe was couching myself because I wasn't sure where you were at on that whole thing. But my point about fuck, I lost it.
Okay, real quick about hearing voices. Like, even schizophrenics, they don't hear an audible voice like in the room speaking to them. It's that voice in their head. That same voice in your head, that's what it sounds like.
I know. And that's what I was talking about in my stream. I don't know if you, well, whatever. But yeah, so, I did this last night. I'm like, hey, everybody be quiet. And I said to them, I said, now I want you to tell yourself something that you love about yourself. Be quiet and tell that to yourself. I didn't hear a voice, but I had a thought. So I heard the thought, but I didn't hear it, right? Like you can read the zeros and ones in your head, but it's not audible.
But not everybody gets that. That's not universal to humans.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's the same thing with like
an internal monologue is not universal to human beings.
Yeah.
Not everybody has
that. And the same with like I visualize things.
Crazy,
like
huh?
when you say the number 671.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I see 671 in blue block letters for some reason in my head right now. That's just what pops up. I see the numbers. It's not like a thought of 671 in a different way. I see that number. That's how I see. I guess not everybody does that. Not everybody visualizes things.
That's also true, Zach.
Yeah.
There are also people that don't have that visualization aspect internally.
Right.
But you can never know what other people know because you can never see through their perception.
Okay, so, but when you think a thought to yourself, like I want you to right now to say to yourself something that you love about yourself in your mind.
And a lot of us can do that. I've known people that only visualize it. It doesn't occur as like an internal monologue.
Okay, that's great. I get that. That just blows my mind in terms of the zeros and one idea, right? That just blows my mind. And I love it. It's beautiful. I think it's grand and mysterious and just wow. You know, but at the same time, when Zack sees 617, he doesn't hear it.
Right. That's the other end of the spectrum. Some people don't have that internal monologue, so they visualize it. Some people visualize it and don't have the internal monologue. Some people have the internal monologue and don't visualize it. Like they can't picture a red ball. If you say red ball, some people will have a picture in their mind of a red ball. Some people don't have that aspect of being able to imagine a red ball in their mind.
That's the hardest thing.
Doesn't that sound insane? Doesn't that just sound crazy? Like,
no, because that's me.
You can't see a red ball?
No.
I can, even with my eyes open. It's just like, right, I can make
so
it.
So like when we say, like, picture a red ball, what happens that what is your...
That's more of an internal monologue. Then he's almost...
I have my eyes are closed and there's darkness and there's maroon shade, you know, I can just see these movements. There's
No, but no.
nothing.
What about
Holy
even with your
shit.
eyes
Hold up,
open?
hold up. Everybody stop.
Okay.
No. With the eyes closed, what are you seeing right now? Please share it.
To me, it looks like just scenery, right? But it's nothing distinct. It's almost like it's out of focus, and it's dark.
Red,
It's dark, but the color that I see is like a gradient of like maroon or a burnt orange.
So as a kid, I used to always, and I still do it now, I mean, but I would ask my mom repeatedly from the first time I could speak to her about what I would see behind my eyes.
Yeah.
And it was like a darkness with little tiny, and I mean so tiny that you really had to stop for a second. If I just like focused on it as a general, like seeing the forest, not the trees thing, then it was that maroon wavy wash. But if I focused on the trees, those tiny red dots would coalesce and they would waver and they would be like in motion and they would be part of what I was doing. Like if I moved my hand in front of my eyes, I would change them. And if I like moved my head in a different direction, they would almost flow.
Eyes, are you in the dark with your eyes open or are your eyes closed?
This is anytime I close my eyes. If I close my eyes right now, I can summon those red dots. They are always part of me. And so as I became aware of things like the world we're in and this energy field that we have agreed to create together and all that shit, I just kind of figured it's part of that. That it's that cloud of possibility that we can grab and do shit. That's the fact that you mentioned that maroon, that's what it would be. That bright red points on a black background creates that maroon wash. So try to focus on it and make the dots happen.
Yeah.
You know, work on that later tonight. You don't have to do that on the air right now. I don't want to.
Sure. No
We're
worries.
all looking into our closed eyes, but I guess because I've done so many things with my consciousness purposefully since a very young age. Some of it out of necessity, some of it out of adventure, some of it out of just me and my buddy doing things, lucid dreaming together, meeting up at places. Because of all those things, I feel like my internal thing is very malleable and I can do with it things I need to do. You know, when I need to do musical things, there's a certain thing that happens inside me that doesn't happen when I'm drawing or doesn't happen when I'm hanging out talking to a friend. And I get that burning excitement of sharing information and my ears start turning red. There's just this energy in I know it's because our fields have connected on something and we're sharing that energy of communication. That's what we try to do here through this fucking horrible internet, and we do it really well. That's why we created this great group of people. But the fact that I've manipulated so many different forms of my consciousness over the years, I feel like that idea of, there's the red ball. You want me to draw it? You want me to sing about it? I got to figure that out, and then that's when it really comes into focus. I don't know if I'm making any sense with this at all. But just the idea of, back to what you were basically on about there with the religion and all that stuff, the idea that rather than this place having been created for us, that we've created, that we share it, that we are multitasking it all at the same time, that choir of angels is us singing this place into existence. I don't know. I'm probably rambling and going spinning out because I have a bit of the ADHD, my damn self. But just the cold. I'm talking about it with Liz in chat too. She doesn't feel that oneness. And I think it's that idea that we actually chose to separate from a great universal, not even that, just a great oneness, into all these pieces to have these human experiences. To learn, to grow, to change, to help each other get back to that source. But don't be in a hurry. Enjoy this fucking place. Enjoy the ride while you're here, because it is just a ride.
Oh man, like this, everything that we're shown is a simulation of the simulation. Okay, like I said, we all know this. There's nothing new under the sun. Every comedian steals from every other comedian. If I get up and do stand up, you'll recognize certain nuances about me because I watched Stephen Wright, I watched Sam Kinison, I watched Emo Phillips, I watched,
Fucking
everybody,
oh God, you're naming great shit, brother.
everybody steals.
Steve cuts.
You know, Gallagher. Everybody steals. Like, I was funny in high school. I was runner up to be class clown, and I lost to the linebacker, you know, jock, whatever. But I was funny because I was stealing shit, right? And I'm witty today, and I come up with shit on the fly, but it's old shit. I didn't just make that up. That was in my back pocket. I've been waiting to use that for like 10 years. You know?
Absolutely. It's part of what forms who you are.
Say all these jokes as you're older, and all these young people are like, oh my God, this guy's hilarious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's no different than Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright will go out and do jokes and do the same set or jokes from old sets, and it's just rehashing the same shit. You get if it's golden, well, no sense in not using it.
Yeah. I mean, I saw him once, and he came. It was early in my time here in Maryland. You got to see him live,
you fucker.
I saw him here in Baltimore.
That's epic, dude. That's equal to seeing a great old man to me. Fuck yeah.
Oh man, it was great. I just because look, okay. I ranted last night on my career as a Christian teacher, and the first year that I was teaching was one of the most stressful, dark times that I, experienced at that point in my life. And I would be locked up and just crushed with anxiety because I was writing lesson plans and having to teach it the next day. You know, it was like writing a script for a movie and then having to have it memorized. You know, that I was just stressed out beyond belief. And there were a couple of times when I just had to decompress, and I told my classes jokes the whole fucking time and just had these kids laughing, at Stephen Wright jokes, at Emo Phillips, and I had to clean this up or do this or whatever. But I was just like, but, where am I going with this? I don't know. I can't remember where I was going with that. But I think the whole journey that we're on, like everybody is on their path. Like I can be open. I don't have to judge you. Like, because I'm ahead of you. I'm behind Zack. Right? Like if I turn around and go, oh, you're behind me. Yeah, but I'm behind the other guy. Like we're all equal. We're all on this journey, And I would imagine that whatever I am, if I'm an eternal, I don't know. I can talk that way, but I don't know. I understand that philosophy, but I don't know, right? When I say that you and I are one, all I mean is that I can see you, I can touch you, I can have a conversation with you. You're, at least in, the sensible way of talking about it, you're tangible. And so then it's the golden rule. What's the one thing I want? I just want to be accepted. I just want you to like me. So then why would I ever be judgmental of you? Like, why wouldn't I love you? Why wouldn't I give you love? Right? Which then is interesting if you think about the ends justifying the means. Everything you do, every single time is a selfish motive, is a selfish decision. You're doing it for you. But it's not bad. There's an aspect in which you can be selfish and where you do it to the detriment of someone else. That's not always the case. That you don't always behave that way like a psychopath. But sometimes you might. I'm not going to let this jerk in, zoom, and so you speed up, right? You're being a dick. Let him in. Back off. You don't have to get there. You'll get there. Be kind. Be kind. Why? Because
that would be a great world, Travis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right?
Unfortunately, last week, Thursday night, I went to a concert. Okay, so how do you leave a concert?
Quickly.
Yeah. You let somebody in, they let you in, you let the next person in, you work together. Dude, there were so many cock-bite fucking people that were just zooming by, pushing other people's, like literally rubbing other people's car to keep them from getting in and shit. I'm like, what is, this world is broken so much over the last few years.
It's amazing.
So,
I just laugh to myself. Like my ex would be so frustrated with me. And it's so funny. One of the couples at the church that I grew up in, he never drove. She always drove. And I always thought that was weird. Right? Did she wear the pants in the family? If I could go back and change one thing in my marriage, I would have changed a lot of things. But this one thing I would just let her drive, because she would just nag the fuck out of me about how I drove, because I was lackadaisical. I let people in. I wasn't in a rush. I didn't tailgate people. You know what I mean? But she was a more aggressive driver. So it drove her batshit crazy. And then she would bitch me out. And then I would hate her.
I laugh because Shell and I do the same thing, but it's the opposite. I'm the one going, you see that empty space? Why don't you go over there and get in that? You want to drive? I'm like, yeah, I do. Let me.
I know. That's what I would have done. I would have started out and said, look, you can drive everywhere. Now, the thing is, for me, I'm a clincher too, right? I react to people driving, but I don't bawl them out. You know what I mean? That's like, I have some self-control.
I used to do that as a young gentleman. Like, I got in fights before over like parking lot issues and shit, truly. And I learned at a young age that it was like, there's no point in this. We're not solving anything. Cops are here. I'm going to wind up in jail. What are we doing? Let's stop these stupid things, Walter.
Well, look, you're a rare breed. I think that you're describing a young, mature soul, which then goes into what I was trying to say before, and I'm just coming back to it now in my head. Like, I'm aware now, right? I would like to think that the kind of person I was that was positive before in my previous life, I'm still that person, but I'm better at it. There are things that I came to conclusions in my mind as a young man that I still do today, and I'm better at it. But I was always like that. Which is why I said earlier that my marriage lasted as long as it did, because of the kind of a person that I was. I wanted it to work. I wanted, this relationship to be an expression of beauty. And I was a broken person. Yeah, I was a selfish person. Absolutely. But when it came to reconciliation, and she said this to me at one point, she's like, you know what? You're more like Jesus than I am a lot of the time, because I'm a forgiver. Why? Because I need forgiveness. I need forgiveness.
Absolutely.
So when you offend me, you need to be set free from that mistake, because you want acceptance. We all want acceptance to one degree or another. I can't be alone, and I'm really struggling right now in this period of my life for the past 6 years. I have people in proximity, but I have no core relationship. I am alone, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? I want someone to love. I want someone to hold.
Embrace it, man. I get that. I get that. But you keep talking about these creative things, these outlets you want to spend time on. And dude, as much as, the time I spend here is amazing, I have to balance that with the time I spend with Shell, because, she is my friend. That's why we're together. If she was not my friend, I wouldn't be with her. Right. If it was just a sexual thing or just a eye in the sky, let's be married and have kids, if it was any of that, it wouldn't ever have been this long. We're pushing, we got together in 99, so we've been together a while.
You're just scared of me, don't lie.
She'll whoop my ass if I ever leave. But yeah, dude, she's my friend.
She's
we laugh,
awesome,
we joke together, we fucking have a blast, and she's not like that with everybody, but with me, she is, right? Zack knows. So it's that kind of thing I get. But there's times when I am lost in guitar world and I'm in a flow and there's things flowing out of me and I've got a recorder going and I don't want to miss it. And then she comes home from work and I have to stop that because I want to spend that time with her. And so it's that hard balance to achieve of the creative flow that you get to, that you only can get to with you being you in your space. You can't do that in front of people. always. Once you've created it, you can share it in front of people. But that deep creative stuff, for me anyway, always comes from a very personal flow space. Art, whatever, talk, I've written things, whatever. So having this alone time, use it, benefit from it. Don't.
Yeah, I mean, look,
don't
get me wrong.
Don't shortchange yourself while you got it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. And I think that I've done that to a certain extent. Maybe in the past 2 years, I might want to say maybe last year. I had two turning points. One was, I realized that I actually liked myself because I stopped cursing my life. I said that before that, a lot of the times I would walk out the front door just mad because we had just had a fight or whatever, and I would just curse my life because, like I said, I wanted to be in love and to love and I was with someone where that didn't work. It was it was just a mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That as well, friend.
It's crazy. This, the whole men are for Mars and women are for Venus kind of a thing. This was like, I wonder if I told you some things, because to me, as I look back on that, I'm like, that is so fucked up. But that's what I was like trying to exist in, right? I was just told to do this thing. And I was like, wow, it's just crazy.
I could be codependent with the best of them.
Oh my God.
Professional codependent.
Oh, but anyway, so I got to the point last year where I actually thanked my wife. I blessed her because there were things about her that I love. And there are things about her that I do today that she did, right? Like she had isms, and I steal from her, So I loved this woman very much. And there were things that she pointed out about myself that I didn't like. And I had to address them. So I'm thankful for that. But when I was a Christian, I wasn't thankful for that. I hated her for pointing those things out to me, even though I needed to hear it, right? So there's an aspect in which it's true. I created this. I said this. If it's a truism, I'm sure it's just because it makes sense. Marriage is the greatest tool for self-improvement, but it's also the most excruciatingly painful, and there's no Novocaine for it.
Well, yeah, no, that's what real love is. I mean, that's one thing that me and I think you might have been sitting there, Travis, or at least in the same room. We were in Dallas, I think. Me and Mac Parhar were sitting there, and we were asking people the question, what is love? And love is telling somebody the truth. And not the truth about things that you want to tell them. It's about the things you don't want to tell them. The things that they don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it. And you tell it to them because you love them.
Well, yeah. Right. But okay. So then think in your mind, the healthy way that you just described it and the difference between that and a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some people have a lot more finesse at getting that message across.
Right. You can get more flies with honey than vinegar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So,
some people don't have
the most.
It's an emotional thing, though. And people get charged just having to tell you this. They don't want to do it in the first place. Sometimes it's hard for people to control. It's hard for me. I know when I'm about to say something I really don't want to say, I get all charged up, and it comes out almost like I'm angry. And I don't mean to do that. And then I start calming down and I start talking a little more rationally. But yeah, it's hard for them to do it just as well as it is for you to hear it. So you got to take that into account as well.
Yeah, and I think that's all part of the whole being open. I'm sorry, Walt. It's being open. It's breathing. It's allowing that thing to happen, not holding on to it, and letting it go. Right? I can say that, but doing that is another thing. And that's so funny. Oh, go ahead, Walt. Sorry.
No, you were good. Go.
You know, so it's just like, what's that? It's a dance. It's just a dance. And you know, when someone comes at you and says something that's true, but they say it as a dick, you have to,
right,
you know, be open to the fact that they might be saying something that is valid. You know, they're just not saying it the right way. And that's not on you. That's on them. But you don't.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So as we have to go out into the world, unfortunately, that is, we all have situations where we have to put on faces and masks, jobs. Hell, going to the grocery store sometime, you got to deal with people. So you're dealing with it, or at least, I don't know how, it's for me, it's more of a shield of defense, because I don't want to feel all their shit, because it comes to me and I feel it and I deal with it, and that's stuff I have to deal with. So I put up walls that I have to deal with, people out in the real world. But even like when I was working as a blackjack dealer or working as a radio, you know, whatever I was doing, it always felt like, because I was spending a certain amount of energy, both trying to maintain that people at bay, because their energy would wash into me and I would feel it, and the energy expenditure of whatever that job was. Like I said, basically a performer, even as a blackjack dealer. Didn't get home. I was married. We had a kid. Well, she already had a kid, and then we had a kid. And the patience would wear thin, because I had spent so much of that patience not blowing up at the idiot across the table, not blowing up at the pit boss behind me, not blowing up at the wall of records that I want to play that are amazing music, but I got to play freaking whatever bullshit, adult contemporary crap. That expenditure of energy you do throughout the day that they've got us wrapped up into is also part of their scheme. Because then when those connections you're talking about are trying to happen, those bitch, dick people have developed. Even you, even me, I've done it. I was the asshole a time or 2,500, you know?
Yeah.
So
right.
that shortness of, you need to hear this, but I'm not saying it the right way. I mean, I still do that with Michelle. She still does that with me, but we love each other long enough to get through it and get past it and finally get to it.
Right. And that was the one thing for me.
Absolutely. Am I an asshole? Fucking A, I don't see how she deals with it. But at that, in those situations, like you're doing driving, you have to be nice to people sometimes that you're probably not really, you know, I'm sure you get some people at times.
Well, thankfully, it hasn't been that prevalent. I mean, there's been a few little, you know.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You do have a lucky situation where you're able to share with people and have some good conversations. So that's awesome.
Well, it's also the time that
be blessed. Know how blessed that is too.
Yeah, I'm not driving at night at the witching hour when the nuts are outside. Like I'm driving in the early morning when people
right after the bars shut up and all that. Right.
Well, gentlemen,
anyway, like I said, that expenditure of patience is hard to overcome sometimes. You about ready to go, birthday boy?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go jump in the hot tub for a little bit before it starts raining tonight. Yeah, it's been calling me. I've been wanting to hit it the last few days, but I haven't. So, yeah, Cami sent a picture of me sitting in the hot tub to my mom. She's just cracking up laughing, and I'm all pie-eyed. I'm all. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's epic. All right, brother. You enjoy the rest.
Check you later, man.
Yeah, good chat, Travis. That was a fun one, man.
All right, good.
All right, Travis. Everybody, well, this is fun, but let's see, swimming at our house, or
yeah.
What I get Sharon too and do this.
102 degrees.
Hey, look, I swear, I looked at the clock going, wait, when does the gym close?
Yeah, it just feels so nice. It does.
It does, but rain is moving in, and once it starts raining, it's not going to quit for like 24 hours. Yeah. We got a flood watch coming when it hits.
Yep. All right, lady, you too. Love you.
Love y'all.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love y'all. Have a great
good weekend.
Night. Yep, Liz.
Bye,
looking
guys.
forward to going swimming with you.
Absolutely, Liz. That's going to be epic when you hit the Knodel home.
And thank y'all so much for all the love in the chat. I appreciate it. Makes me feel special. I love y'all. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Peace out, homie. So, a needle pulling thread. See how that works?
Yeah, I do see it.
Now you'll never be able to unhear it.
Von Traps ruined that for me a long time ago.
Say they what?
The Von Traps ruined that for me a long time ago.
Oh yeah. So talking about other concepts, I don't know if I've said what I wanted to say about severance, but the dual realities that we live in, our subconscious and our conscious, our awake and our sleep, those two worlds are multi-universes, Yep. And I think that the multiverse concept is based on the dreamscape that is the metaphysical reality of our physiology, right? Like this stuff is ancient and old, and they understood dreams and they knew how to fly and they knew how to telekinetically do shit. Okay? I'll say that I believe that wholeheartedly. Okay? Whatever. And so, where was I going? Where was I going with that?
I haven't.
Talking about movies and severance and whatnot. So they show us reality, and so the gaming world, that's the meta universe, right? But that's a dreamscape. They're just creating a simulation of a dream. So when you are awake and you know everything that you did outside, and you're stressed out about this, that, or the other, and then this is the severance metaphor, because the outside person doesn't want the inside person to know what the outside person is doing. They want to have those two worlds separate. That's what the idea of severance is. They're cutting off these two worlds. When I go to work, I work. When I come home, I don't want to think about work. And this is a program that you can go through and have it be inserted into your brain and yada, yada, right? And then the reality then becomes is this blur between when those two worlds actually are like this, because you're the same person. And that's what every single movie with AI is. You know what the problem in the Blade Runner was? Memories. You know what the problem in Westworld was? Memories. You can't erase it. You remember things.
Dude, that is so key to everything for me. That has been a thing. Like me and Shell talk about that. Like she doesn't have vivid memories of her young life, and it wasn't any kind of trauma thing or anything like that. Just she doesn't remember those things like I do. Her sister has different memories about situations than she does. She remembers stuff she doesn't. And I can remember the gum under the pews at the church at the age of like 1, crawling around. I can remember stuff before that. And that's when it kind of starts getting crazy. And when I talk about that stuff, it really does sound insane. But I mean, the idea of don't forget as a fucking mantra in the crypt. And the things that, like I said, as I explored the red dots and as the fucking dragon materialized through my fan and as the fucking, there was so many things that I went through at that age. And it was all about that, trying not to let the world make me forget what I was trying. Yes.
So, Dream is Destiny. Okay, this movie is an important movie.
Yes.
Because it's everything that Walt just said. Okay, we should be adepts, not inept. We should be adept at controlling our dreams intentionally, right? Because that's the game. That's the role-playing game. You're a first-person player, right? So you have to be able to merge your awareness out here right now as I'm talking to you. I'm not dreaming right now. I'll go over there and flip the light switch and the lights will turn off. But if it was a dream, they wouldn't turn off. But not too many people are aware to talk about the possibility that they might be dreaming, so I know that I'm awake right now. Odds are. Okay? But we don't know how to take our awareness here into our dreams. And we should be learning that from an early age. We should be instructed on how to do that. Because in that world, we can live forever. Because as C.S. Lewis and many others have written so eloquently about time and the multiverse, when the Pevensey children go into the magic wardrobe, remember when Lucy, they play hide and seek for the first time, and Lucy goes into the wardrobe and it just keeps going deep and deep and deeper? I have chills right now. And the fur coats turn into fir trees, and she's in Narnia. And she spends hours there. Remember, she just went into the wardrobe playing hide and seek. She's been gone for hours. And then she jumps out of the wardrobe. She goes, "Here I am. You guys miss me?" And they're like, "What you? We just started the game, you idiot." Time isn't time in a dream. And if you knew that you could manipulate that time, think about this scene in The Matrix when Neo was getting uploaded and he was learning Kung Fu, and he opens his eyes and he goes, "I know Kung Fu."
Oh shit, I think you're getting uploaded.
Just
right
in
now.
a dream for 30. He was just, okay, that scene, right? Matrix is an allegory. Don't think because we don't live in a dystopian, world that none of that, like, you have to understand that when Neo was lying down in the chair, hooked up to the simulation, that's a dream. He's in a dream. So when his eyes are going REM, he's dreaming for 30 years, training as a Kung Fu master in his mind. That's what the Pevensey children did in Narnia. They became the rulers of Narnia as adults, 20 years. But then when they went back to the real world, they were children again. Fucking A, man. That's what happens every single day for us. Right? I go into my dream and I could do amazing, I could learn things. If I knew that I could spend enough time there, I could spend a lifetime in one night's sleep. And then not only, right? So I'm talking about being aware of going into your dream as an aware person. But then you have to bring out what you just learned with you. You have to merge the two worlds.
What if you can't really control time as much as you think you can in a dream? You've got a limited amount. You're going to be able to get into that dream at a certain point with a certain consciousness, but then you're only going to be able to exist in that dream. You will progress until a certain point, and then your dream state gives out.
That's what happens in missions. I don't play these games. Walt does. You know what I'm talking about. These missions.
Look, what you're saying, Josh, makes absolute sense to me as well. I mean, so if
it's like life.
So you're playing
it's just
a
representation of this life. All this life is us somewhere else who learned how to completely lucid dream. So now this is us experiencing that lucid dream in that instant of a night's sleep. Now hoping that we can, in this dream, learn to lucid dream in this dream so that we can experience an entire lifetime in one night's sleep. This is Inception.
Right, but what about that idea that you said about the limited time? What if it's also that pool of energy? We are batteries. We have to do things to recharge, be it get in nature or sleep right or meditate or whatever. If you don't do those things and you expend all your energy, your shit don't work right. You break down. So that we're not an infinite field of energy here. That energy out there might be, and we're funneling it here to a 3D thing. And in this 3D thing, it has to be limited. That's how we're having this experience together. And if you suddenly get the cheat code and you're playing in God mode, well, I can fly and I can do this and I can make a building that turns into this fucking ancient thing and it looks like a veiled lady because I can mold shit with all these powers. That's great for couple months, maybe even 6 months, if you just really that person who likes to aggravate other people and troll people and do stupid shit and blow people up, you can have a blast in God mode. But it gets old and it breaks the game, and you don't want to play the game right no more. It really fucks up the game. So,
well, and then I can still put that into sort of the concept here too, and that's what so many people are doing. They're fucking up the game. They're breaking the code because they're not playing it right. If they would play it right, then they wouldn't fuck up the code. But they don't. They get in here. They just do whatever feels good and do whatever thinks. Well, I'm uncomfortable, so I guess that means I'm a boy now. Fuck it. Why not? It's my game. It'll just be whatever I say it is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Oh my God, you know, like I said, I was confused about Annie Lennox, you know, and I was confused about Christopher Reeve and Michael Caine in the movie. Oh shit, what was the name of the movie? Anyway, they kissed. Death Trap. They kissed as
fucking amazing movie.
Oh, I love the movie. Is amazing. Yes.
Oh my
God,
as
a prepubescent
I was very
boy,
weirded out and uncomfortable with that too. That was fucking Superman.
Exactly.
Right. What?
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't know what was happening, and so those things are those trigger points of the trajectory of, and now that shaped me, right? And my first memory of boobs is probably Caddyshack, and I remember my mom telling me to put my hands over my eyes, and I was like this, right?
Great.
You know, so I was exposed to things that
believe it or not,
it's
Rosemary's Baby when I went to see it in the theater. I just had to go with mine. My first boob thing was Rosemary.
Oh, I know what the other one was. For me, was Clash of the Titans at the beginning. When Perseus was born.
First time I saw full frontal nudity was in a movie called Dead Solid Perfect.
Huh, I don't know who was in that.
Oh, I know that one. Oh my God.
It was a golf movie.
Who was in that, John?
I can't even tell you off the top of my head.
Dead Solid Perfect. That does not even ring a bell as a movie for me.
Yeah, bit of a sleeper. I think. I don't think many people were aware of it. I think it was even one of those, like, probably Hollywood B movies, late night HBO type thing. I don't think it was anything spectacular.
The reason I remember it is because a band that I loved in the 80s called Tangerine Dream did the music in that movie. The movie about golf was like, yeah, it's all right, but I'm trying to remember her name. Wasn't she very like...
She was really tall. She had
tomboyish. Damn it. Sexy tomboyish, but still that, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about a different girl in the movie or something. But
I'm thinking like Mary Stuart Masterson.
You would recognize her.
That was with Tangerine Dream, right? Yeah, Dead Solid Perfect, Tangerine Dream. Okay.
If you saw the leading lady, you'd recognize her. She's been in other shows and commercials and done other work beyond Dead Solid Perfect. But
thing freezing up. Sorry, I'm having internet issues apparently. Connie Boher is her name. That's not at all who I would remember her being.
Tall, long, for some reason, gives me the impression.
But I know Blade Boy was in it. I know Crazy Ass was in it. I remember that. Right? Wasn't him? Wasn't the Crazy Quaid in it? Randy? Yeah.
I remember being very young and like consciously like thinking that I have to learn how to manipulate like this reality. Like walking and talking like, okay, this is my body and I have to learn how to use it. Yeah. Like, okay, this is my reality. Now this is how I fly. And now that I know I can fly, this is what I have to do with it. This is what I have to do with this power. This is how this power is used in this reality. This is how, forward locomotion is used in this reality. Bipedal locomotion.
Yeah, so, right. So then my point is that the powers that be that write our education don't tell us this information.
Well, of fucking course they don't. It's fucking mind control.
Okay.
Good little robot fucking industry of bullshit.
Did any of you have these thoughts as kids? Like,
I'm sure.
It's inherent. I think the knowledge is inherent. They don't tell us because they're busy making sure we don't pay attention. They're making us forget. Yes.
Yeah.
Forget it. Here's
Yeah.
bright colors on the screen. Here, go do this thing. Here, have some sugar. Fucking A, you have all the sugar you can get your hands on.
No matter your
Here's
mantra
a
in
quarter.
the crib.
Go down to the store and get 5 handfuls of shit. You like a stick of pure sugar. Suck on that. Have fun. I mean, yeah, no wonder we forget everything.
No matter what your mantra is when you are in your crib, by God, you will forget.
Oh, they're going to forget. You sure fucking will, brother.
Okay, so then that makes me think about like what I thought I was trying to say before at some point in terms of my awareness. You know, I've been aware for now 6 years. Now, I was alive before that, and the paradigm of my life was, you know, everything from the divorce of my parents when I was 2, you know, and the awkward situations that I got into with cousins and shit like that, right? Like that kind of exposure is everything, you know, it's that's just, you know, that kind of stuff shapes you just as much as the intentional stuff that happens in relationships. But you know, now I'm aware of a different reality. So in my mind, like, this is my first time waking up. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, so I would hope to then, when I open my eyes again in the new simulation, right? Because that's what you have when you're playing in your role-playing game as a first person. You have missions. And if you die, guess what? You come back. You start that part over again with everything you had before that. You know, and you level up.
When you start this game over, what do you get back?
Right. Well, see, that's the part where, right, that's the part where I don't have, you know, any experience. And so then I'm asking the question, okay, so like, am I going to start to remember in the next round?
Well, that's what I'm saying about that whole idea of don't forget, and being so young and asking so many questions about this place is because you know, dude, I don't want to sound like I'm self-important or whatever. That's why I hate talking about this shit, because I'm just here to work on this fucking place.
I'm not taking you that way. I'm taking you absolutely honestly.
And so you know, the idea of being here many fucking times has always resonated with me, always. And that idea of trying not to forget those things, that they are, and that's part of the fucking energy field you break through to go through that birth canal. It is an electrical charge that you and your mother have when they cut that umbilical cord. I mean, all these things, that fucking cut that happens, the fucking, you know, slap that brings, yeah, all these things are all designed as part of it to keep you from forgetting it, because they know if you get here with all that knowledge, you will be the fucking, you know, master and the fucking flyer and the fucking Neo. And so teaching everybody how to do it, and then their game's over. They've lost their power, they've lost their energy source and all that. And so the fact that they're gamblers and that they want to play games with us, sure, they'll let you come back with a little bit of knowledge, but not all of it. If you had all of it, you'd beat them. But if you have just enough to make it an interesting bet, to where, yeah, let's let this fucker come with something. Let's let him have a little memory so that he'll start digging at an earlier age and see what happens. You know, what happened? I'm sitting around getting high talking to fuckers on the internet. Am I changing the world? Am I breaking up shit? I'm hoping I can plant a few seeds, but there's stuff
so
works.
Look,
that's why things are like they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back, try to tie two things that one thing that I said earlier, but now bringing it together with Monsters, Inc. And being aware that
the documentary you're talking about, Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, the docu-movie. I call them docu-movies. So psychopaths are misusing the Force. They're Sith. Okay, they are detrimental to health. Okay, they don't. It's all selfish, right? It's all wickedly selfish. Why is it like I said before? Every decision we make is for us. You can do it as a dick or you can do it as a humble person. So it can go either way. But every time you decide to do something, it's because you want to do that thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. You did it because you want to do it. Okay, so you have responsibility. And damn it, I lost my train of thought.
I don't think a psychopath is doing it in spite of the fact that they think they're a dick. Like, I don't think they consider themselves.
Oh, no. Yeah. That's why they're a psychopath.
So
because I know I'm being a dick when I'm being a dick. I know it. I'm deciding to be a dick right now.
But what if what you're doing, you think you're doing, is not being a dick, but everybody else thinks you are, but you're a psychopath, but you don't realize that you're being a dick?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get the scenario. Sure. It's like, everybody's got that friend who has really bad body odor. And if you don't know any friends like that, you're the friend with bad body odor. Right?
Sort of, I suppose. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily think that you could say a psychopath is acting with evil intent, right?
I know, yeah. Yes, because yes, and in his mind,
their justifications are no less or more than our justifications. We just don't like their outcome.
Well, it's also whether or not their decision inflicted harm on someone else. Because I think that's the the issue. Like, we have empathy, right?
Right.
I can be sorry that I did this thing. Psychopaths don't even know that they did it, or whatever. Or if they do, they don't give a shit. Like, that's the really bad one,
Mm-hmm.
But I know I started talking about something, but now I lost what I was saying. But it's been the story of my life tonight, losing track of my mind. But anyway, so like in the simulation, you wake up, you come back, you start the mission over again, you level up. And so now that's where I'm at. Like, I'm on this mission now. I know in this way of thinking, in this simulation, that when I open my eyes in the next rebirth, right? What's going to be my first memory? Did I just start right now? Did I just get turned on right now and I have memories of having a conversation with you 5 minutes ago?
That I used to play with my own self, my cousins. I would always ask them that shit to fuck with them. Like, what if you just started this morning? Like, what do you mean? Like, what if all the shit you think is like yesterday, or being born, hanging out, going to marriage, all that? What if that's just a memory that got implanted with them? And they'd be fucked up for like the whole day, like, oh.
Well, let's go see your cousin Walt. I don't want to.
I don't like Walt, right?
Oh, that is golden, bro. That is so beautiful. I love it. So you're an old soul, right? So I'd like to begin to think that I'm at the start of my becoming an old soul, right? And whether or not, like, reincarnation can happen at any moment. I used to think that reincarnation was when a baby was born. That's reincarnation. I don't think that that's the case. I have a theory. And that theory is based on a movie, of course, called Heaven Can Wait. Okay? Fantastic movie. You need to watch it. There is a star athlete. I think he was a quarterback for the Jets, Warren Beatty, right? And he's running and doing his regiment in the morning. He's jogging. And he goes through this tunnel and gets hit by a car and dies. Next thing you know, he's in his gray tracksuit, walking with a clarinet, and he's walking in this misty white world, doesn't know that he's dead, goes to the pearly gates, and he's like, whoa, 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 I'm not ready for this, send me back. Like, the movie's called Heaven Can Wait. And they're like, oh, we can't send you back already. The body was either too damaged or whatever, they burned it already, or something like that, right? They couldn't send him back into his body. So they send him, what happens is someone else dies and his soul is now in heaven. And so then they put him back into somebody else's body. So when he wakes up, he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who these people are. Because the person isn't he's the same soul, but he just got switched to a different model. And everybody on the outside world knows that model. They all know who that is. That's Joe. But when Joe wakes up, he's like, who are you? You're my wife? Okay.
And I haven't seen that.
And then the upload happens, right? Like, I mean, I had this really, my first really, I don't know if I've shared this with you guys or not. Stop me if I've said this already, if I've told this story, but I find it fascinating. When I made my first batch of canna butter, I forgot to put gloves on when I strained the cheesecloth. And the next thing I remember is I'm mindlessly walking through my apartment in a figure eight, in an infinity sign from one room to the next. And I'm just like in and out. And this is just cannabis. Okay. I was destroyed. I had no idea, no sense of time. I have no idea how long that dream lasted. But I remember vividly understanding. I'm going to say it this way. Okay. I remember thinking and understanding that I was being reset in this moment.
That's awesome.
I was becoming Travis. I was having memories. Is that my memory? Is that my memory? Or was that one my memory? And then there was a mirror on the wall. And I began to be aware of myself in the mirror, but I was saying to myself, I don't want to look. I don't want to know who that is yet. I don't want to know who I am yet. I don't want to know, like this is wild. Like, and then when I would lose my balance, I felt like that was a glitch in the matrix where I was remembering a mistake that I had made. Because I was walking through and I would sometimes bump into the door, and I was just on autopilot, man. If I knew that was going to happen, I wish I could have gone to set up cameras, because I was just like, but I felt like I was becoming Travis, and that I was learning his memories, and I was just blew my mind.
Yeah, I loved Grodin in that movie too. He was fucking epic. I love Charles Grodin.
So then here's a suggestion for like coma. That's what I'm saying. So like when someone comes out of a coma and he doesn't know who that person is, it's possible he's a reset. Because the other person died. And then they just recycled it. Because that's what I'm saying. The movie is showing you that's what happens. People get reset in midstream.
I've had that thought and had experiences that made me think that happened to me too. Nothing more than just like a blink or the appearance.
Who knows? That's a fucking glitch in the matrix. That's a meow, meow.
It was
you
like
just got reset.
Like an appearance of the blink, or like all the lights in the whole house. A power surge and the lights
I think it has to do with more of a change in your frequency and what you've done in your life. And there is that chrism. Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm only interrupting because I'm scatterbrained. You know that, right?
So go.
When I was younger, I vividly remember encountering lights turning on and off when I came near.
Oh yeah, dude, going down the road, if I'm in a certain flow state, thinking about a thing that got me, like, especially like when I'm doing research and I'm trying to figure shit out, I'll like turn lights off going down the whole fucking interstate, down the 4-lane, down the...
Well, mine wasn't that extreme, but I remember walking down Chicago. Like, this is one of my first memories of it. Walking down Chicago and coming in proximity to a street light, and it goes off. Or if I walk, if it's off, I walk towards it and it goes on, and it's other lights. But it's not like brrr, it's just once. But I remember it much, much more often when I was a young man. It was just this phenomenon that I was like, I recognized it, I understood it, I saw it. I was like, this is really weird. It's like The Shining, right? Or it's like The Sixth Sense, you know? And I just didn't know it. And I didn't understand it. But then going back to what I'm saying about training children how to understand how to be a Jedi in their dream from birth, I'm training them to understand that spirituality, that being in tune with, right? You know, but that requires being in a world, in an existence, in in a tribe where that is life, right? I mean, think about it. Think about how much potential we would have if we weren't enslaved the way that we are today. You know, I can only imagine, you know, and again, it's an imagination, you know, 300 years ago on the prairie, you know, I grew up into a culture that already existed. Like I didn't plow these fields, or like I didn't clear this land. My ancestors cleared the land. So now I live in an environment where we have food everywhere for free. And all we have to do is go out and pluck it. Yeah, we have to maintain it ultimately, but like I didn't start that community. You understand what I'm saying? Like we grew up midstream. We came into this world just already with things having been done. Like we don't have original thoughts typically, right?
Unless we just got turned on yesterday. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
But that idea of it being here for us to get lost in, like that idea of like the agricultural setup that we're in already that meets those needs, that history of harvest, that what you're talking about, that isn't the only thing that was harvested and seeds were sown. I mean, these truths that we're trying to uncover, we find so many ancient things, maps, documents, hidden nooks and crannies of the world that we find these things that resonate. That's what I was just talking to Liz with in chat too, trying to, you know, explain the discernment. She was saying there's so many different kinds of films. Why is the truth in the kind of films that we're referencing? That's because those things resonate with us. And is it resonating in a like, oh, this is what I think this movie agrees with it? I don't think so. There have been movies that rocked me in ways that made me totally change what I thought about stuff in a whole different direction. So, you know, that idea of the harvest we're reaping of those people who've done this research before.
Think about this, right?
The books, the Don Juan, Don Carlos Castaneda stuff. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Go ahead, Travis.
Sorry.
I'm just saying that's an equal harvest that we're getting to reap from, I think, that was sown for us.
Yeah, well, look, if we are connected to each other in the great simulation that is the mind, okay? Everything is mind. Everything is mind. Everything is perception. And then all I know is, yeah. So I'm going to go off on, and I'm going to forget what I was starting to say. Oh God, I had a really interesting thing to bring up that I had thought about before, and I just lost it again. But darn you, Mary Jane.
Welcome to Iron Realm, right?
Oh my gosh. Really wanted to say that too. It was interesting. Just
it'll come back.
I mean, just the stuff that we're talking about, again, the simulation idea, you know, and that we have this life to do over and over. Oh, then the light's going on and off. So then that's what I was trying to say in terms of like you were talking about being aware of certain things, Josh, and then Walt chimed in and said, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then I was like, oh, maybe when those lights were flickering, like that was some kind of like transfer, you know, like something for me, you know what I mean? Because like it was something. I mean, it was just weird not to be something, right? It's just weird not.
Well, right, dude. I mean, we're electromagnetic beings. How many things have shown us that? And this place is electromagnetic, and those lights are electromagnetic. And so being in that state of revelation, of download, of flow, whatever word you use, whatever state it is, because those are all similar yet different states, creates a different field around your aura, and that aura interacts with things around you. I mean, I've seen, like, especially when you're out of body, you can see it. You can see that like almost like a smeary haze around things. And when your smeary haze goes through that smeary haze, there's a link, a connection. It connects to it, and that's part of it. That connection that we feel when. Again, I'll start ranting if I don't stop.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I don't have any awareness of having those experiences in my development at this point. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to think about what you're saying, but I have no, like, oh, I get that. Like, I can relate to that.
Righto, and we're all at different places. We're all at different layers, levels. That thing you're talking about, that light happening was you going from one layer to another layer, from one level to another layer, to another frequency, to a different shift. It's all, it resonates around you. That's what it is. Your shit just went out into the field of everybody else's shit and changed.
So again, in a dream, right? So in Severance, it's like a dream. So in this reality right now, tonight, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to lie down and I'm going to go to work. And when I'm in my dream, I don't remember that I was a guy that was at work just a few minutes ago. That's what Severance is. It's what happens when we dream. Because when I'm dreaming, I don't remember Travis out. I don't remember the Audi. I don't even know there's an Audi, right? And then think about this. This is what I was going to say a moment ago. The powers that be, right, tell us the story of the burning of the Library of Alexandria and whatever, and they burned the books, and we don't burn books anymore, and Hitler, he burned books, blah 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 blah, right? And yet we have residue, don't we? Like, they didn't do a very good job of cleaning up everything, did they? Like, if they really wanted us not to know, why are there books out there that exist? Because the program writer wrote that into the script. That's his safe, right? That's his out. He's left clues. You understand what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to talk about that so much, but I want to spoil it for anybody because it's so fucking great of a show if you haven't seen it. Well, you can't really spoil it. It's in the fucking intro. It happens every time the show starts. So that black goo stuff, that is literally in the intro of the show. Interesting, isn't it? That it's part of that whole thing, that dream, that almost like a barrier, a film, an oily layer, if you will, that they have to pass through to get from that one state to another. Maybe that's what they're showing in that little introduction for the show every week.
I'm sorry.
Go watch it, everybody.
Which show are we talking about?
Severance. Don't think about that goo, the black goo.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
As the show starts.
Have you watched it then?
Yeah. Yo, fucking yay, dude. I can't wait for the next fucking season. I hope they do it more.
You know what I just got? I don't know. Wish I could say something right now. I just understood.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I want to talk about shit too. And
I just understood something the other day, and I was like, oh, that's what that was about. I was like, wow.
Watch it again now that you're talking about it.
Oh, man. It took me a while. There was something about it. It was so, the way that it's so like pasty. I don't know how to describe it. Like, the
cinematography that they use, of it all, dude.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's like retro. There's this retro feel to it, like it's back at the 60s
feel too. Maybe. That backroom thing, you know what I'm talking about? This whole genre of like movie or videos and shit on the internet.
Liminal spaces.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Liminal spaces.
Yeah. It's almost like the place, that's where they are, is that liminal place. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
So going back again to what I was saying before about the Sith abusing the Force, right? The movie The Monsters Inc. is an expose about our slavery. Okay? Because they are draining our energy, which powers their system. That's the metaphor, okay? And the way that they drain our energy is through fear. They control us through a narrative. They tell us lies and create fear of the boogeyman or the boogie V, And that is, and what does that fear do? It breeds compliance, because now this is the way out. We've told you that there are monsters out there. Here, follow us to safety. Right? And so we're following Pied Pipers all the time.
Getting ready to do the dinosaur.
I still lost my thought on that. I don't think I finished what I was going to say, but I don't know. Like this world is a simulation. I mean, whatever this is right now, yeah, you know, this physicality, you know, all of this stuff, whatever. But I'm saying again that the reason why we have multiverse language, the reason why we have, you know, even dark matter and all of these concepts, right, is because those things exist in another world where we all go to. Okay, so think about this. When all of us go to sleep tonight at some point, we're all logging in to the game. When you close your eyes, you wake up in another scene, and you don't remember, like, you know, think about this. Like, if you're wherever you are, if you're sitting at the couch and you drop your napkin or drop your phone, okay? So you're sitting at the couch in the living room watching television. You bend down to pick up your phone, and when you come back up, you're at the kitchen table eating breakfast, and you just pick up like you were never just watching television in the living room. And those scenes just change, just like that. And every single time, you're the same person, you know, but you don't know where you are. You don't know why you are, right? You have no, like
Quantum Leap.
You know, it's like, I think I finally understand Descartes. I think, therefore I am. My dreamer doesn't think. He's an NPC. So Barbie is an NPC, and she wakes up. Okay? Wreck-It Ralph is an NPC, and he wakes up. Buzz Lightyear was an NPC. You are a toy! Right? He had to be woken up. You ever think about who woke up Morpheus? Who was the first person to wake up? That's a part of the program. It's all been written. We're all Neo. We all wake up.
The sixth time.
What do you mean?
There were 5 other iterations of the Matrix before the one Neo was in the movie we saw happen. You
Is that
the whole thing with
okay?
the guy
So what's
and the bearded guy in the room?
Yeah. So here's my dark secret. I cannot even get 20 minutes into the second Matrix. I just don't feel it.
So for me, the first one was like, holy shit. And for me, the second one hit me at a right place, right time. My son was a good age to go see it with me and enjoy it for the adventure and the action, and that got me into that part of it. There was some really amazingly done stunts in that movie. The fucking camera work was new shit with the fucking bullet cam, and there was just a lot going on. And the second one, like I said, to me was great. The third one, they lost the fucking thread. I can't make it 10 minutes through the third one, but I enjoyed the second one too. But anyway, yeah, the creator, it talks about it being the 6th iteration of the Matrix.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting that I would like to go down that rabbit hole, but I've forced myself numerous times to watch The Matrix, and I turn it off within 20 minutes. I just can't do it. It just is not. It's like, it was like I walked out of the last Guardians of the Galaxy. I walked out.
Hey, I sat and watched it here, or I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't free on my TV, and I was probably baked and falling asleep. Yeah, it was really bad. It's really bad.
I mean,
that being said, if you have access to the video game, I cannot recommend it enough. It is tied to the comic books, not the movie. There are Easter eggs about the movie and the game that are really well done. But if you want to know what's really going on with the Guardians, go play that fucking game. It's on one of the
What's it called?
Guardians of the Galaxy. You go look that up. It's the only Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is technically what it's called. If you go look that up as a game, it was free a few weeks back, or I probably would never played it. But yeah, it is. I'm still trying to finish it, and I don't finish most games if they get boring. It's definitely not the movie. Really enjoyable. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Well, look, it's getting late. Before everybody else leaves, I had promised I would show something Rico had shared with me this week. Is that okay to do? Because hell, I just realized it's 9 o'clock, Travis. You've got us going on this one, brother. I appreciate the hell out of it. And we need to come back to it too with this stuff.
You're going to show something, right?
Yeah, I'm about to here. I'm trying to get it up. It's one of these multitasks. And of course, as I'm starting to do that, here comes cats and keyboard and everything else. Give me 1 second. Liz asked about it in chat, so before I forget again, let me do it. Have I got my sound right in my ear? Yeah, let me mute up here. Wait, do you have me presenting or whatever, Josh? However, you got to do your thing.
Yeah, I got you.
There's a big echo on. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just mute up for right now, everybody.
Are emotions getting in the way of everyday life? Do you find yourself feeling inconvenienced by moments of empathy toward your fellow man? Do you occasionally suffer from showing feelings of an almost human nature? This will not do. Time to ask your doctor about Zombitol. Zombitol is the most effective human emotion deadening medicine on the market, guaranteed to intercept any and all attempts at real human connection instantly. After 2 weeks of taking Zombitol, patients reported feeling more dead inside than even the most devout nihilist. In fact, 9 out of 10 politicians say they can't make it through the day without a strong dose of Zombitol. Maybe you find yourself feeling some days sad and other days happy. Perhaps you get nervous when meeting new people. You might even be inclined to put down your smartphone when hanging out with loved ones. Zombitol can put a stop to all that pointless emotion. In this fast-paced world, who has time to deal with what's actually depressing you? No need to waste precious moments expressing happiness at your children's baseball game. You've got work to do, and your boss isn't paying you to feel things. If you find yourself admiring Dr. Spock, Dexter, or Agent Smith, tell your doctor that Zombitol is right for you. Zombitol is there when you yearn for the cosmic void in your heart and soul. From the makers of Repressitol, helping people feel since 1992.
Please consult your doctor before taking Zombitol. Even though medical professionals have zero idea how this stuff actually works, patients only wish they could experience normal side effects such as nausea, vomiting, headaches, heartburn, and diarrhea. Instead, patients have reported fungal infection, runny nose, lazy nose, weekend boredom, increase in semen, decrease in semen, gas with oily discharge, painful rectal itch, 2 poops to 7 poops, red poops to purple poops, an urgent need to have them, an inability to control them, inexplicable urges to have sex with homosexuals, trouble swallowing post-blowjob, death by cop, and strong longing for the zombie apocalypse.
Oh man, that was so funny.
That's great shit. That was
I was
Rico and
supposed
his
to laugh,
family
right?
produced, and oh, that's fucking great. Yeah, I was pissing myself. I showed it to Shell. She couldn't stop laughing. Great stuff, Nemo. Sorry, I'm looking at the damn chat. Rico. Yeah, brother, good stuff. I'll drop the link so you guys can share it with people who might need some Zombitol. Speaking of links, I have been dropping shit all through the show. So before the claw closes or whatever, man, go pick some of those up. They're mostly for you.
Oh, they're cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, you were talking about music and choirs.
Yeah, Anthony Jeselnik. Yeah.
And then I forgot he was on there. I saw it and I'm like, oh yeah, that was one of the big good shows too. And then there was a thing where they all get on stage and hang out and talk. And dude, Pete Holmes owned that whole show. It was great. And then you were talking about choirs. And I don't know if you've been exposed to Mr. Collier, Jacob Collier, but he does this thing with an audience where it like, I don't understand how he even has this because I don't understand, are his tickets sold by like, hey, I'm a tenor, hey, I'm a bass. I don't get it. What he does here is the most amazing thing I've seen in a long time. Like I cried the first time I saw this. And then I had like already seen this song he does called Little Blue that again, I pretty much can't make it through without tears anymore.
And I'm sorry, you're talking about Jacob Collier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go watch that. Go watch that last little thing, the live audience.
Yeah, I'm trying to open them right now. And
it's amazing.
Paused. So weird. Well, whatever. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll check him out when we end the call.
So
But, listen.
Before we get out of here, Travis, real quick.
Yeah.
So you're going out west?
Okay, yeah, right. So I didn't even really touch on that. What the hell? Hold on.
3 hours.
This stupid
play.
Thing played without me touching it. Okay. Yeah, it's the call. I'm just going to call. I thought of it today as like the call of the wild, right? There's been this weird pattern around this time in March that in the past 6 years, I've done it maybe 2 times at least, and this might be the 3rd or the 4th time, but where I've just felt this drive to change in this way, but I've always been afraid. And I did it one time, and I tried it, and I went on my own after being at Daryl's with 2 friends of mine. We went out and opened the season with Daryl, breaking the ground and pulling weeds and getting the beds all ready. So I was there, and I said to my 2 friends, I said, you know what? Because I was going to go by myself. And then we were talking, and I said, you guys should come with. And we made it a road trip. But when we got there, I said to him, I said, you know what? I don't know if I could have done this. I came out here by myself. Like, this is remote, you know? And I could sense that when I was with them. And I was thinking, man, if I didn't have these 2 guys here, I would be alone. And so then we came back from that trip, and months went by, and I felt like I wanted to make that change. I'm like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go off grid. And, I'm going to start, making money this way and then saving it this way and, planning it out this way. And when I got there, my dark passenger woke me up with a nightmare of being, having made this decision that I can't undo. And it was the worst decision ever. And I just had this crushing darkness, and it wouldn't go away, and it wouldn't go away. And, that was just 3 years ago, but I was like, why didn't I go talk to Daryl? Right? Why didn't I go say, hey, look, man, something's going on. Like, I need you, right? Can you help me through this? So that's at least what I have in my back pocket, because I'm going to go back into the cave, right? I'm going to go back into the cave. And if the darkness is there waiting for me, my old friend, right?
Absolutely.
When am I going to remember to talk to Daryl, or am I going to get so scared that I run out of the cave? Right? So yeah, I'm feeling that drive, and that's the whole, the motive of following your dreams. You have these intuitions, or you have these motivations, and like you have to pursue that. You have to make that happen. And it's just something that's always an echo in my mind. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to do this, but I'm scared out of my mind.
Well, I'm excited as hell for you.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Yeah, right.
I talked to Daryl at length about heading out there and hanging out, doing a sweat lodge and all kind of stuff. Just haven't been able to make that trip yet myself, but definitely want to, big time.
Right.
A lot of good energy coming out from that way.
Well, the company I work for, we're playing the lotto, so I put in my $2. If I win the lotto, I'll make an East Coast trip. I'll make a West Coast trip. I'll be
pick me up.
Driving every hell. Fucking A, I will.
Because I don't play. You got to play to hit it. I'll never hit it.
Right. Exactly. This is it. I don't play either. Except the guy walking around, hey, $2 for Powerball.
Oh, shit, it's meant to be.
I got $5 in my car I use for car wash. Let me go get that money. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I did that one time with a company that I worked with. I think it was a restaurant or whatever, and everybody went in a couple dollars because of the Powerball was massive. Didn't win anything.
No, we never do. I've played a few times. And it's not even super massive.
Like, does anybody know anybody who knows somebody who won ever? Does anybody know anybody like that?
Not like
how many
super,
degrees?
Super big amount. No.
You know,
like I know people that have won some, but not like more than 6 digits worth.
You know what? I just remember right now, and I don't know if I can remember the movie. It's this fuzzy, right? I'm seeing a red ball, but it's a scene in a movie, but I can see it a bit, and it's hazy. But I found, I think maybe I put it on my channel too. Yeah, I think I did. I found a reference to Ed McMahon's association with the sweepstakes in a movie, in a dialogue, and it's so random. I was just watching this movie at random, and they're talking about Ed McMahon doing. I'm like, holy cow! Like, here we go.
There you go.
You know,
there's the residue.
Yeah. So like, right. So then the the program writer puts all of these Easter eggs in life, right? There's glitches, there's hiccups, and there's magic maps, Marauders maps and things like that we can find in stories, right? It's not a real literal map, it's a story. It's the tortoise and the hare. That's the sun chasing the moon in their circuits, and that's just a story about nature. And what most 99% of the NPCs out there don't realize that NASA's story is just as much myth as the Greeks. The same thing. It's just a different story about what that stuff is out there. It's just that they're extorting it. They're using it as a means of extortion. But it's no less than any Navajo or Sioux or Pawnee. Like, they all watched the same television show. It's called The Sky. And then they made up stories about it. They didn't actually think those stories were real. What are you, stupid? Are you crazy? We're just making movies in our head. Like, because what else is there to do? But I daydream sometimes when I'm awake, and that's like dreaming. So I can dream while I'm awake. That's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have all the time in the world to figure this stuff out. Like, going back to what I said before, we're in this rat race where they have us so preoccupied with everything that nothing is possible for us because we don't have time. And I still wake up, like, I have all the time in the world right now, and I'm too lazy to be spiritually disciplined to get up and meditate. I think about it right now, and it's a good idea. I'm going to do that. Tomorrow I wake up, I don't feel like doing it. But I should, right? Because that's where you learn how to expand.
Electricity. It's because we have electricity. If you didn't have electricity and you were forced to just sit
that's
there.
true. Yes. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, sure. I mean, your commodity of light could have been what? What's your fuel? Is it oil or what is it? So yeah,
light.
You can't burn light all night long because you'll run out of it. So that's right. You go to bed when it's dark out.
And air conditioning and charging your phone to watch YouTube videos or turning on your television or listening to the radio to find podcasts or whatever it is. Once you start cutting out all the distractions that electricity provides, or all the comforts that electricity provides, and you're just left there by yourself to be with yourself.
And is it ironic? I suppose, correct me if this isn't irony, but isn't it ironic that the one people group that is shunned or looked down upon, the Amish, have that principle for that very same reason? Like, they knew that this is going to lead to idle hands. If you take away time for me to work, what am I going to do but waste my time? But that's what we have now. We have so much time and we waste it because we're not spiritually disciplined, which then leads.
We don't have so much time and we waste.
Well, I mean, okay.
We really do gotta get out of here.
Okay.
I've been up way early. Real
quick, shout out to Juan from the Juan on Juan podcast. I finally got my little humongous owner's manual in the mail today. Y'all guys remember the little religious flyers that was everywhere in the 70s and 80s with the little comics in it? It's what this is, but it's one of his things about the freaking alchemy of making homunculus. It's fucking great. Shout out.
Are golems humonguluses?
They surely are, my friend.
Yeah.
They surely are.
Big shout out to Jason Talbot driving. So we're going to make it all the way
to
Columbus, Georgia. That's where my mother was living when we went to go retrieve her. She went from St. Louis to Columbus, Georgia. She worked at Georgia Technical College there in Columbus. And big shout out to everybody else that has managed to stay with us.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate the hell out of it. This one went long, but we were wrapped up in it for damn sure. Thank you so much, Travis.
We're still like 2 hours
long. Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry I was so scatterbrained sometimes and forgetful.
Oh, good, brother. You took us some cool places, and I enjoyed the fucking ride. So,
Oh, good.
Heck yeah. So love you guys. Hope we'll see you back next
Ark
week.
at the Diver too, right after this. Sorry.
What did you just say, Walter?
I'm gonna go crank up Ark of the Diver. I just saw it again in the background.
Oh,
Steve Winwood. We might play that Monday.
nice.
I gotta stop hogging requests. We gotta let everybody else have some.
What the Patreon's for? They get.
I'll put one over there. That'll be fair then, right?
Well,
I'll be on the list.
You have priority because you're already part of the show. After that comes the Patreon.
Everybody else gets a turn.
But after that,
if we ever get back on FM, what is it? Truth FM? Free World? FM? I don't remember. But whatever that is, if we ever get it working again, we ought to just do an all music show for them one day and let them all get their requests in.
That'd be good.
Yep. And then we'll get a couple too.
Be like Thursday night therapy, like a Kenny's sessions.
I love that shit. All right, Travis, thank you again, friend.
Guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody else.
Happy birthday to Zachary again. Love you, Cami. Thank you.
Absolutely love you all. Don't forget the Ironworks every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maybe over Free World. Or maybe YouTube.
Maybe on YouTube even.
Maybe. It may not be.
Maybe.
We may just have to go quiet for a while. You never know. They may just ban us from internet.
Underground. Go underground. Go to the dark web.
Shit, I thought we were underground. All right. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Be good, be well. Do good and do it well.